and we're not live, but we are rolling now. We are recording.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. Cool.
um, so welcome to Nerd Night Perspectives. We're gonna talk about a movie today, very special one
Yes.
from many of our childhoods. The movie Gremlins. It's actually kind of a Christmas movie, but we just don't give a fuck. We're gonna do it in the
Mm-hmm.
middle
Oh
of
yeah.
summer or spring.
Spring. We just got done with it, but we're coming back for more. But yeah, 1984's Gremlins, Steven Spielberg. We were talking the writer and the director. So like the writer is Chris Columbus, and like as we know later on, like he goes to direct a lot of the Harry Potter movies.
He did the first two, like it was mostly him, I think. I'll have to
I
look into
wish I
more of
did
that
more research. Yeah, I didn't do enough research on him.
because I know they switched out
Whoops.
directors with a few of the Harry Potter movies, but
Yeah, I'm not sure. And then this movie is also directed by Joe Dante.
Joe Dante directed
And then
the. He did. You said he did Small Soldiers.
yes, I saw him doing Soldiers, which obviously came out later, but that was also a big part of my childhood. Small
Oh yeah.
Soldiers, and it has like we were saying, had a lot of similarities to Gremlins too.
Actually, I'm pretty sure it has that same actor who plays Mr. Futterman was also in Small Soldiers. He plays like his neighbor or his boss or something. I can't remember. I haven't seen that movie in a little while. But yeah, very similar vibes though in terms of the movie. Like I think you said earlier, it was like small but dangerous, kind of cute, kind of. Oh, sorry about that. We lost a
Yeah,
little connection right there.
technical difficulties,
We'll,
but it
we'll
was
fix.
probably the Gremlins,
Dude, it.
honestly.
All right, but for real though, like.
What?
It only makes sense. Have our own gremlins difficulties.
How fitting.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do you think about this movie without like really spoiling this movie?
Um, Fun, goofy. I do think it was like a maybe a little out of touch because it's like a lot of like kind of like slapstick gag humor, which I don't think is as popular anymore.
I know, yeah.
Three Stooges style. You know what I mean?
They used a lot of those Looney Tunes, Three Stooges sound effects.
Right. Yeah.
But
No. Definitely. Um. Well, actually, real quick, what did you think about the movie?
I love this movie, man. I remember watching it like every year on Christmas when I was a kid. Um, I remember it never being scary. I remember always loving it for like a kind of like a little comedy, you know? And
Yeah.
then I think for like a little while, I never really grew out of it. I just didn't watch it because I forgot it was a Christmas movie for some reason. And then it came up. I found out Anita didn't watch it. She never seen it before, and I was like, oh, well, you like old movies. This one would be right up your alley. And we watched it for Christmas in December, and I found re-sparked my love for the movie. It is so silly, so campy, but like it has such a charm to it. It really, I think, the effects on it really kind of still hold up because they used like a lot of practical, either like the stop motion or the puppeteering was great.
Yeah, mechanical puppeteering, and then like I think that's good that you pointed out the stop motion because I noticed that in a lot of scenes, especially when there's like a lot of the gremlins themselves specifically.
Hmm. Yeah, man. It
Um, Go on.
it just kind of had like a little bit of has a little bit of magic to it, and I think that's like kind of like what a lot of shows. I think it's what Stranger Things tries to capitalize on is that 80s kind of nostalgia. But you can't really beat, the classics of this because this is what they're trying to borrow from for that show or other shows or movies. This
Well, and
is
what's
it's
interesting
that
is that they
feeling.
borrow from this movie borrows from other things too, from even longer ago.
Mm.
So
Oh
that kind
yeah?
of just like.
Like what? I'd like to hear.
Uh, um,
Hear what you.
well, like, what was that? What was that robot we were talking about earlier? It's like Robo Bob or something.
Yeah, it's like the guy who looks like the big Protectron.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking about when I saw that. And then apparently that's actually from something. What
uh,
did you say it was?
I think it was Forbidden Planet. It was the
I
robot
think
from
that's
like
right.
Forbidden Planet. Let me
Yeah.
shut up.
Um. Yeah. There's other things too, like the actor, the old Chinese guy that we see in the beginning is
Yeah,
I think he's a really big actor that played in a lot of stuff, like including older stuff.
yeah,
Um.
he has that face of like an actor that like I remember his face, but I don't remember his. I don't know his name. I don't remember what he's from, but
Yeah.
he's very recognizable.
Yeah,
Um,
and also the I was planning on bringing it up later, but they talk about that they reference the guy that did the War of the Worlds
Orson Welles.
radio. Yes, yes, yes. They referenced him later on in it too, and that was kind of a little meta, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But we'll
Oh
probably
yeah.
get to that more later. But yeah, like my point is that they are like going from that, and that's not even to mention E.T., which isn't as old. Obviously, it's just recent, but a couple years before. But
Yeah, they're cashing in on that nostalgia back in the 80s. It was 80s
yeah,
nostalgia in the 80s.
yeah. The point is that '80s nostalgia has like even older nostalgia than that embedded in it too. So I just thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it was nice little Easter eggs, especially since they kind of almost have that Steven Spielberg kind of this whole movie did kind of had that charm to it.
Oh yeah, you
Um,
could definitely feel it. Fun thing about this, like 2 weeks after Gremlins came out. No, Gremlins is PG. That's what my DVD says. Um,
yeah, that
and
didn't
like
really.
2 weeks after that, that's just the 2 weeks after that Spielberg is the one that pitched the idea of a PG-13 rating.
Oh, did he?
And it was because of Gremlins, because he didn't really, I don't think he really felt it was supposed to be PG, and it obviously wasn't supposed to be like R or anything, but it was somewhere in the middle, and that's where that kind of came from. And do you know what the first movie was that actually got that rating? Because it wasn't Gremlins.
It was Red Dawn.
Ah, yes, 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 exactly, very good.
Watching cable at late night in a hotel. That's how I heard that one. That little
That's
fun
good.
fact.
That's good. Well, it was also it was on this one video I sent you, but you already knew that. That's cool. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So also this movie kind of got a funny thing about like the origins of like trying to make this movie. I think it was like one of those on-off movies that they weren't sure about if it was even going to get made, but it eventually did. It was actually supposed to originally be an ET sequel.
What? Really?
Yes. Yeah, where like ET's like people end up coming to back to Earth and they're like really mean.
So ET was just really is like, hey, they got booze, they got cigarettes there,
Yeah.
they got Snow White and the Seven
Yeah.
Dwarfs.
Candy, Milk Duds,
Candy.
Snickers bars. And, but yeah, but obviously they ended up just making that their own thing. Also they were considering having Tim Burton on as the director.
Oh, really? This would have been
Yeah, so we were
very
more
different.
yeah, more darker. Obviously, Johnny Depp's got to be in it.
Yeah, they have Johnny Depp in a lot of makeup. He would
Yeah,
be one of the Gremlins.
well, I can't remember which one, but one of the YouTube videos I was watching on this call referred to him as Johnny Depp's dad, Tim Burton. But I guess at the time he had only his biggest thing that he ever did was Frankenweenie, and that's how they even knew about him. But it was only a short film, and I think they weren't sure if he could handle like a full length feature.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's why they ended up going with Joe Dante. And also like pretty late into production of that movie, I guess Gizmo, our main cute little furball, was supposed to actually be he actually was supposed to turn into Spike.
Oh no.
Yeah, and then like Spielberg, obviously the back half of they were saying in the makers document, like the makers behind the scenes, whatever, where you watch the movie with them, but they're talking about just facts about it. The commentary, they were talking about how the back half pretty much didn't have Gizmo, and Steven Spielberg, as much of a pain in the butt it was rightfully so, was like, we should have him like throughout the film because the audience will love him,
Oh yeah, that was a good call by Spielberg. That guy, he knows a few things about movies. I think. I gotta love him.
Yeah, you think? Well, yeah, I mean, E.T. I think was like the biggest like box office hit at the time. I hope I'm saying that right.
Oh
It
yeah,
was something big. I know it made mad cash at the time, like big time. And then I think Gremlins was like somewhere up there, in like top 5 or something when it finally came out.
yeah, man. That was like, yeah, that was like an instant classic. I think they got,
Pretty much.
yeah,
Um,
but
yeah. They have an Atari game as well, but it's like
oh,
not
I think
really.
I think that
Go
was
on.
I think that was rated as like the worst game ever made at the.
It looks like it. It doesn't look like it has anything to do with it other than the art cover on the front. It's just like catch all the gremlins, or they'll eat your
Oh.
hamburgers.
I thought you were talking about the ET game.
No, not E.T. I'm talking the Gremlins Atari game. There's an
Gremlins
E.T.
Atari.
game?
Yeah, I think
Oh no.
that one's got like the worst rating ever
Oh
on a
man. Well, it
video game.
sounds like the Gremlins one was right up with it. I think I played a small ET game on like a website for like one of the cereal brands that was like marketing in like the mid 2000s,
Oh
mid to early
really?
2000s. Yeah, it was on the internet, and I can't even remember how it went.
So do you want to guess what IMDb put as the ET Atari game? What its rating is?
What?
It's a 1.8 out of 10.
Ooh,
I
that's
know.
rough.
I know. It's rare. I've seen like bad movies and they get like at least a 5 out of 10 or a 4 out of 10 because somebody liked that movie.
Is there any
But
way you can tell us what the Gremlins game was
oh,
rated?
let's see. Let's see this one.
Dun 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 dun. Hi ho, hi ho. Silver. Away.
It actually looks like it got better ratings. I think is it Gremlins Inc? Is that the one?
Ah,
Let me
I wish
see.
I could see the cover of it. It's like Gizmo, like kind of like running up front, and I think Stripe might be behind him. For like the art cover actually looks decent, and I think I saw a video
Oh,
on YouTube of them talking how the art actually looks decent for the cover, but that's about it.
yeah. It also doesn't have great scores. I think it has critics. Moby Game says that the critics rated it at like 44%.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Still not apparently not like ET though. That's
Yeah,
both funny and sad to hear.
yeah, they kind of like. I don't know. I think Cancer might have a higher rating in IMDb than the ET game.
Oh, yeesh. Right. Oh
um,
man.
that was terrible. I'm sorry.
Anywho, no, it's all good. Good. We'll leave that for our fans to decide, and
Yeah.
obviously these critics on IMDb.
Okay, that got at least a
What's
2 out of 10.
IMDb's rating of what's their rating of cancer? Do you know? So
Not a great disease. Probably like two out of 10. 2 out of 10. Beats it by point
yeah,
2 points.
right. Mogwai. I've heard 3 different things, like translations for it. It's Cantonese for either devil, demon, or evil spirit.
Oh, but they're so
I think I've
cute.
heard devil the most,
They're so cute
but I
though.
don't know. If anyone speaks Cantonese, please correct us in the comments. What does Mogwai mean?
Yeah, maybe one of our friends is gonna be like, "Oh, I also speak Cantonese. You didn't know that
Right.
about me. I don't talk about it much."
I don't know. We got quite a bit of. surprised. So this is our first recording after dropping the Tusk video, you know,
Oh yeah,
and that was, we got 120 something views.
yeah,
I was actually really impressed, and I just, really happy for all the support, and I hope we can keep doing that.
yeah. Me too, dude. That
So
was really awesome.
thank you guys so much. Thank you everyone for listening, and hopefully we're giving you the stuff you want,
Yeah. If I had to
the
say,
stuff
like,
you need.
what bar I set for our first video, I thought we are gonna get like maybe 20 views, cause like,
Yeah, I was thinking 20, 50, a 50 cap, a 50 cap. There's no way.
no, we doubled it. We doubled it,
No, it
baby.
was good. Then some. It was good. It was good. And thanks to everyone for that doing that. Anywho, I guess Gremlins are known for. Now I pretty much mostly heard World War II, although I swear I heard something say World War One, early 20th century planes, all that stuff. That
Hmm.
they're usually the scapegoat for mechanical failure or issues in planes.
Just the general
Something goes
shenanigans.
wrong. Yeah, it's like the gnomes or anything, the underwear gnomes or whatever. It's
The
these
underwear
gremlins.
gnomes.
These
The
gremlins mess with the plane. It's the only answer. It's the only
yeah,
explanation.
kind of like the Yule lads or like the kobolds and like goblins and stuff. It's just
I was
like
thinking goblins for sure.
they just kind of like something. The door was a little creaky last night, and you're like, ah, it's the damn gremlins or the goblins,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's what they are. So usually mechanical, and I think people modernly say technological too, but it's mostly been a mechanical thing. World War II, I guess, or at least early 20th century for sure.
Yeah, it's even pretty modern because we were blaming that on our
Yeah,
recording just now.
it's for real,
Like-
still relevant. So the Gremlins live on.
oh shoot.
Still reproducing out there. So why don't we get into the movie?
Yeah, let's break it down. Let's break it down. So it starts off in a little Chinatown there. I actually kind of like this intro because it looks like a little bit mysterious and stuff, and the way he does his narration over it, it was really adds to the fantasy of it. I didn't know. I knew freaking Gremlins Mogwais didn't exist, but it was kind of like a nice hypothetical of like that this movie gave me was like, what if what if there are creatures out there that are out there like that, like little fairy creatures like that really did exist. Maybe you go over your friend's house and you'd see something like that. I don't know. Again, knew they didn't exist, but it was a fun little like hypothetical when I was a kid. But so
Yeah, no, absolutely. Also, when the movie starts, we get that Warner Brothers logo. I was watching in that director's commentary or whatever that was the first time that they had the actual Warner Brothers logo on for like years. Because I guess originally it was like Warner Communications, and they had something called the Worm logo.
the worm logo.
So even just the Warner Brothers like logo coming back was kind of an interesting, like
Mm-hmm.
callback for that movie, and that's actually I think why they ended up keeping it again afterwards because it seemed so fitting after Gremlins when they brought it back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but anywho, so we got the this this guy who's narrating himself in
Rand,
Chinatown. That's San Francisco, right?
I think so. Yeah, Rand Peltzer is the main
Yeah.
character coming in, and he's an inventor. So like you get to see one of his little inventions pretty early on here. Um, does a lot of communication with the character in the beginning, even though this guy's really not in much of the movie, to be honest.
No,
Um,
he's mostly at the beginning and at the end. And he's
yeah.
sprinkled a little bit in the middle, but kind of away from it. What's going on?
So he goes into this little magic shop, little. It's like it has little antiques and little
Cool that you
mysterious.
said magic. I think they have magic like in Cantonese or something on the wall when they're first going down.
Hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. I think you sent me a video where that guy kind of translated some of that
Yeah, and
stuff.
there was another one too, but I can't remember what it was.
So he goes
Anywho,
he goes down in there and he's trying to get like a little like kind of Christmas gift, right? And
He's
he's
or sell. He's trying to sell too. He's trying to see if he can either swap,
Mhm.
like exchange merchandise or something, move some merchandise is what it was.
Oh,
So sell,
right.
sell. He's trying to sell his product first, and then worst come to worst, maybe he'll find something cool that he can get his son. He's
Oh
kind of like
yeah.
juggling around, like he buying and selling.
Yeah, yeah. He's a real tradesman here, and he's trying to sell his bathroom buddy, which is just like all of the little toiletries that you have just like stuck onto one thing, and then it shoots
hmm
toothpaste and or shaving cream at you.
Yeah, it's a Swiss Army knife. It's got like a shaving mirror, toothbrush, I think toenail clippers, a
Yeah, it
nail file,
does.
and a dental mirror. I don't know what
Dental
you
mirror.
need a dental mirror for.
But you got it. You got it just in
Doing
case.
doing doing surgery right here,
Said the
right on the
dentist.
bus. Maybe to get that popcorn kernel.
In the back.
I
It's
don't know.
got
Yeah.
it's got a little bit of everything on there. It's a neat little tool and stuff. I remember as a kid I was like, "Oh, that sounds awesome. I'd love to have one of those." No, nowadays.
Right. The again on that director's commentary thing, they were talking about how they had to invent all these little things, and how that one actually, if it wasn't so bulky, would actually be a half decent invention to have.
Right?
you know,
I
just
like
kind of like a
this.
Leatherman, but more for hygienic purposes. The date,
Mhm.
like you said, the person on the bus or the train or whatever.
Yeah, you always have it in your car, and being where I have to shave fairly often for one of my jobs, I have to. I would be kind of handy just to have in my console, just have a little razor there, a little shaving cream.
Yeah.
But
To help the dispense works.
yeah, but I love the way he pitches this thing. He's like talking about, it's like you got a bad case of dragon breath, and
Yes. And they
the,
had, I think they
the
had like a
the the
gong or
gong,
something.
the gong went off. It's like wow.
I mean, if they're going with it, they're going all the way.
They couldn't have like him meeting a Chinese or Asian guy without having a little gong after something they
Yeah.
said.
Yeah, some just off-putting dragon pun for his sales pitch. Trying to relate with this old Chinese man who hasn't said a word, by the way.
Yeah, has not. He's been very stoic, very quiet.
Sitting there smoking his pipe.
And you kind of think like you can hear the the Mogwai or Gizmo, they later call him, in the background. And I kind of thought like if he didn't want like him to find him, like he would have probably kept him a little bit more secret and just kind of
Yeah, I know.
had. He's like,
Uh, Go on.
what did he have? It just had like a little screen around him, and they're like, yeah, that's good. That'll keep him out of out of sight. To keep him out of
Right.
mischief.
Right. Singing like I don't know. It's kind of interesting to what he sounds like. I almost feel like I almost want to say a cricket, but it's not. It's just hard vibration. Not hard,
Mm,
but like it's so I don't know. It's kind of like it's like a chirp, kind of. Not chirp. It's hard to say. I'm having a hard time nailing, like describing what exactly his sound is. You kind of just
yeah,
got to hear it.
yeah, I guess so. Cause like you're right. I don't really know how to pin that down either. I was gonna say kind of like a little monkey or like a little like rodent creature, but like it's not that either. Especially when he
Oh,
sings, he kind of hums and he sings.
yeah. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to say, but you get to hear that, and you'll recognize that. If it's kind of one of those things that kind of sticks in your head once you hear it. You'll always know that as a
Hmm.
Mogwai sound.
I gotta say, but they make little Gizmo really cute. This is like to me is like the proto Baby Yoda. I feel like
Well, well, honestly, because it came after like Star Wars, so I'm wondering it was George. I don't know if George Lucas had any involvement with it, but he is obviously like Spielberg and him obviously like done work together and
hmm
have a relationship. And so I'm wondering if there was some Yoda involvement and if Gizmo is OG Grogu.
yeah.
Like as far as I don't want to say like a merchandising opportunity, but
Oh
as
yeah,
far as
for
that
hmm
cute, whatever, that
hmm
kids and people would like to have like just a little pet. And also, I wish I would have done more research. Furbies, They were
Oh,
later, right?
I believe they were later, and they were. I
Okay,
think
because
they're like
that's
the
what I always think
90s.
of. Yeah, because that's what I had a Furby when I was growing up, and
You had one of those creatures, one of those
yeah,
nightmare
mine was called I
creatures.
think Mimi. I had a gray. He was gray with like a yellow stripe, and his name was Mimi. And
someone
my cousin had one too, and we could put them in front of each other, and they'd talk.
someone made a meme saying about how like they have forward-facing eyes so that they're predators, and I didn't need any more convincing. I already believed those things were some kind of spawn of Satan. Like I remember I had a nightmare about one of those. I never owned one. I never did, but I had a nightmare involving a Furby, like a giant
That's
one.
funny. That's funny. Yeah, there's this famous like meme of like someone who took like a bunch of Furbies and like stacked them into like a Furby centipede of like this, it's just a monstrosity. Like I'd have to find that meme sometime. But they also reminded me Gizmo also reminded me a little bit of Trebles. I mean Tribble
Oh,
from
from
Star Trek.
oh no, I don't know that much Star
You know the
Trek.
Tribble? Trouble with Tribbles?
I don't. I don't.
Oh, okay. So, well, basically, and this is not unlike what kind of happens later on. Is Tribbles are like these like little fuzz balls that are like super cute and everyone wants them as a pet, but they reproduce like crazy to the point where like they're in everything, like the machinery, like the walls, like, and so they have this huge issue with dealing with this over reproducing creature that's so cute and cuddly and everyone loves, and that's not terribly unlike the Mogwai, at
Oh
least at
yeah,
first, you know.
yeah. I kind of want to get onto this one later, but it did kind of remind me of like the Ratchet and Clank game, the second one, the little critter there. But I'll have to get into more of that later.
Yeah, yeah, you can get it later. You can get it now, whenever. I'm not as familiar with Ratchet and Clank, so you're gonna have to make those references.
Okay.
Uh, Anywho, so we get to see Gizmo. He's chirping, and he's also not for sale.
It's also not for sale. Not for $100. Not
Or
for
two.
$200.
Nope. Macaroonies. No.
Yeah,
No, no. And I don't wonder how much that was in 1984.
could buy a house with that probably.
You can at least get a college degree. No.
The way that kid was looking at it, he was like, "That's $200,
It was
Grandpa."
probably, I don't know, I'm guessing probably at least $500, at the
Yeah,
time. Like in modern money, it's probably even a little more than that. I don't know.
yeah, it was a good amount of money for that, I'd say. I like how he doesn't like freak out or anything when he sees it. He's just like, "Oh, that's so cute. I want it." But the
Gimme,
kid
gimme.
the kid at least is like, or the kid is like, otherwise the movie wouldn't happen, but like the kid is like, he wants to look out for his grandpa. Apparently I don't think they're really doing all that well on money. So
No, well, their store's in the basement. That's why the kid's even out there, like trying to like pull people into it. And I think the guy even makes a comment on it at first when he goes into the store.
Mhm.
Like no wonder you have to drag people out here because it's like a basement. It's like this is your grandpa's store, like
Yeah.
so location, location, location. And they're not
Yeah.
doing too well in that department.
And the lighting, they need to give it a little more zazz.
They
Needs a
just
little
have
more
one
zazz.
sign that's on the side outside before you go in. That it's just says magic. In Chinese.
In Chinese.
Cantonese, Cantonese or whatever. But
But he does like he sells the little gizmo to Mr. Peltzer, and he tells him the three rules. And the three rules I think was really cool because it kind of creates a little bit of like a mythology to the creature. Like, makes it really feel like this kind of something that's always kind of existed, but it's very magical in nature. It has, you can't show him bright lights. Sunlight will kill him. You can't touch him with water. You can't let him touch
nope.
water. And
Most of all, most importantly,
don't feed him
what?
after midnight. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And he's like, I don't know. I guess they have to follow daylight savings and Pacific Standard Time or Central Mountain Time or whatever. I'm sure that all applies, right?
We ran into this with the Deathgasm video.
Yeah.
Does daylight savings matter, or is it about the time in your heart? You know, what time is
what
it in here?
what time do
Or
you
your
believe it is?
yeah, maybe the internal clock. I don't know.
Yeah, the Gremlins follow by what your government standards the time zones.
Thanks a lot, Ben Franklin.
um, but so I love how like it goes from this. This is like the least Christmassy part of the movie, but like as soon as this transitions over, it opens up with the whole shebang of it being Christmas themed, like the snow, the music. It's well, I can't remember the name of the song, but it just opens up perfectly and gives that really nice vibe to it, kind of like a little small town vibe to that
Oh,
to that scene.
big time, small town. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know that they show that billboard.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like
wasn't it
Rockin'
Rockin'
Ricky
Ricky?
Rialto, and it's like
Yeah.
an obvi Indiana Jones.
Yeah, very much inspired for sure. He looks like he's from Raiders of the Lost Ark on that billboard.
Exactly. That's exactly what they're going for with the Spielberg property. You know.
hmm And you get to see Billy, our main character, who's really like he they have his father is narrating the movie at the beginning and in the end, but like this is kind of Billy's movie for the most part. It's Billy and Gizmo's movie, but
Yep.
mostly
Yep.
Billy. And you see him trying to start up his car, and it's like you at first I just thought it was like the standard like kind of horror movie trope, but now kind of looking into it a bit more, I feel like I don't know. I'll have to get into this a little bit more later as we kind of talk about the other inventions and stuff and their little quirks they have. But I kind of have some more thoughts on that. Um, but
Um.
Mr. Futterman comes up and he's just like talking about how he doesn't like foreign vehicles and all this and that.
hmm
Now how good his tractor is because it's American made.
The Kentucky Harvester
The Kentucky Harvester.
swears by it. I think he accuses foreigners of putting gremlins in
Oh yeah.
people's vehicle
Yep.
in their vehicles or whatever.
Yeah, freaking Mr. Futterman's a bit of like a conspiracy theorist
Just
now cuz
at the very least superstitious, you know.
very very
But
superstitious.
definitely conspiracy a little bit. He's got I don't know if it's like, you know, World War stuff or what, but or Vietnam or whatever it is, but he's kind of got, you know, a little bit of a, you know, that nationalist, you know, American
Yeah,
exceptionalism.
he does. And they do kind of have a reason for why he thinks that way. That they do kind of like stuff that was like I didn't really notice the first time or
Well,
any a lot of the times I watched this movie is
well,
that
the
they
funny thing is he's not wrong totally. The Mogwai and the Gremlins do exist, and frickin' they came from a foreigner.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
So
got him.
it's one of those things where once again you got this kind of nut job who's not completely wrong or crazy, you know?
But I love the way this town looks. It gives me like little it reminds me a lot of actually like Back to the Future or It's a Wonderful Life, the way he can kind of just walk downtown to his work, you know. I wouldn't,
Yeah.
obviously some people can still do that in their towns, in their small towns.
Well, it's small town. That's the whole thing, you know.
Mhm. Mm, it was nice and busy. You got the little movie theater there. You got so many of those little shops. It was just
Yeah.
really 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 pretty, and I liked
He's
it.
got his dog with him the whole time, you
Yeah, he's got
know.
his dog. It's not bring your dog to work day, but Billy just doesn't give a fuck, right?
Well, you don't want to leave him alone with who's to come.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Frickin' Mrs. fucking Deagle.
Yeah, Mrs. Deagle. Oh,
Excuse me.
she's like the Cruella de Vil almost
Yes,
character. She's
Scrooge. There's another one. Oh, she reminds me of the Wicked Witch of the West from
Oh
Wizard of
yeah,
Oz a little
yeah.
bit.
She is definitely that kind of archetype where she's just the mean, nasty old lady. She's
Who
like,
hates your dog?
she's
Hates your dog. Wants to
hates
kill your
hates
dog.
your dog, and you see like her introduction is just like basically telling these kids that they have to starve for Christmas. Like,
Right?
like they really set up her character.
Oh yeah, and she doesn't even want the replacement money about the snowman. It's just about like revenge, and spite and just
Oh
hurting,
yeah, because
outlashing.
Billy's dog Barney, I guess, got out and knocked over her imported Bavarian snowman, and she wants to
Okay.
put him in a spin dryer on a high heat.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's pretty sad. Like, you're already wondering who's the real villain in this story. You
Oh
know,
yeah, I remember. Yeah, I know.
a little bit of gremlin in her.
I know. I kind of thought too during this movie, was like, man, if the Gremlins and her like joined forces, kind of like they would be unstoppable. She would just like run the town,
Yeah,
be
Overlord
like a
style.
yeah,
Yeah.
Overlord style. Like she'd be their Dark Lord.
Oh,
Oh my goodness! And
building
then
giant statues of these snowmen.
that would be that'd be a totally different movie, but I kind of am curious about it. I would love that.
Yeah,
That's pretty funny.
she does that terrible acting. Like, not
Hmm.
the actress, but like, the actor acting as a bad actress. About like her heart or whatever.
Oh,
Just like
my heart, my heart.
manipulative. Like she'll say she wants to kill your dog, and then she's like, "Oh, poor me, everyone."
Oh yeah, yeah. She wants to really manipulate the people around her.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
in this small little town.
there was actually a small detail that does happen with Kate and Billy, because Kate is kind of Billy's like love interest in this, and you hear him talking about like how Mrs. Deagle's trying to buy out this land, and like it was the place where his father proposed to his mother, and she kind of she kind of reveals a small amount of her little cynical kind of point of view, her cynical perspective about like, and it's just a very small way of her saying, it's like, well, it's where everyone's dad proposes to their mom. It's
Well,
such a
it's the
small thing.
spot.
It's the
It's
spot.
like
Yeah,
like make
yeah,
out reef and in
yeah, yeah,
SpongeBob or
yeah.
whatever. It's just the spot.
Oh
The view
yeah.
in the area.
Absolutely. She kind of like wants to take the magic out of it, because you kind of see later on she does talk more about not.
She's bitter. She's a
Yeah,
little bitter.
she's a little bitter, and she does have like reason to, for like she's got a little bit of her own backstory about it.
Yeah, we'll get into that later, but
Yeah, for
what's her
sure.
name's Kate, right?
Kate. Yep.
Yeah, I had a hard time remembering. I swear they say it like one time.
I know. I had to look it up. I had to look up
Wow. Yeah, I just have her written down as the love interest.
the love interest, the lady.
Well, that lady actually, I wish I could remember completely. I think she was actually kind of a controversial pick at the time.
Oh,
I
really?
don't I don't think she did like I don't think she did like porn or anything, but she did some kind of like what was considered a little more risque stuff like prior, and they were like really kind of they're kind of worried about having her as that for like what was supposed to be a family movie. Which
Oh, really?
yeah, there was some kind of thing with that. But anywho, what were we talking about her?
Oh, I was
Oh,
just bringing up that
that's
little
right, that little
detail.
thing. Yeah, yeah, and that gives you once again just setting you the small town mentality of the spot, and then her reflection of these moments of like either love or joy or fondness, especially involving parents and family and what have you.
Yeah, and it really kind of makes also, it's like kind of Mrs. Deagle again brought up. It kind of makes her more of like the Mr. Potter of this movie, which they think they do have a Wonderful Life reference in the actual movie where it's actually playing in the movie. But
Oh wow, I didn't
um,
catch that. But I think we get them. I'm trying to think of when we. I think after that whole thing, we end up getting to that drawing. Because we're at the
Oh,
bar, that drawing of
right.
Mrs. Deagle as the dragon.
Yeah, because Barney gets loose and then kind of like scares her, and
That's right.
quote unquote scares Mrs. Deagle, and she's like, "My heart," and then you see him doing a little drawing at the bar later of her as a dragon and him him fighting her. Just like,
The fire breather.
yeah, guess who almost filed for unemployment today?
Right.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah,
Oh
he's
yeah.
with his. It's not. It's like his boss, but it's like his. It's the VP of the company, so it's not his real boss.
It's like his
But it is his boss.
it's like boss's son, isn't it?
I didn't catch which. And that actor, what was that actor from? Was
Oh my
he
god, he's got
the
that
only thing?
face.
The only thing I could think of is I think he might have been the guy that Tim Allen's wife, well, ex-wife, ends up dating and marrying in Santa Claus. Later on, obviously, way after Gremlins, in
Oh
the
my
'90s
goodness.
or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
I think he's the boyfriend therapist husband guy
Oh no way. Oh
in
my god.
Santa Claus. I don't have that looked up, but that's what I think he's from. That's the only thing I could think of that I've seen him in, but prior to this, like
My
besides this
goodness.
movie.
Well, it's
But
pictured in my head now, so now it has to be true.
it's at least headcanon for sure.
It's true
Are they
until I watch
connected?
that movie again. the but I think it's shortly after this is like when Gizmo gets introduced. And actually I just looked this up and like you won't well it's kind of weird like the voice Gizmo is voiced by an actor and like I was pretty shocked by who it was. It was like Howie Mandel from like Deal or No Deal, I guess voices
America's Got
Gizmo.
Talent.
America's Got Talent. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I thought that was so funny. It just kind of reminds me of
yeah,
like in the new Pinocchio, like Kate Blanchett voices the monkey and just makes noises, like
yeah. That's right. Uh, I forgot which versions. That's not the Disney one. I keep forgetting that guy's name. Toro, or what's his name?
Guillermo del Toro.
Del
Yeah.
Toro. That guy. Yeah. No, that was a good one. I was surprised with that Pinocchio. It was different. They tried something new. That beginning was crazy. We're definitely gonna have to talk about that one of these times
Oh yeah.
more.
Yeah, for sure.
But in the scene with that with the VP of the company or whatever, that's when you end up they reveal that our friend Bill, I had him written down as William because that's what his thing says at his job. It's William, but the whole movie they're calling him Bill.
Billy.
I
Billy.
yeah, Billy Bob.
Billy Pop.
He reveals that pretty much that Billy is the one that's actually kind of supporting the family, and that's because obviously implied that his dad is kind of he's obviously a failed inventor.
Yeah.
He's still struggling to that dream though, but it's actually costing his family.
That's really kind of sad. Yeah. But he's really I kind of got that vibe from Kate too, because Kate's working two jobs.
Yeah, well, and
Yeah.
she's as we know later on is missing a parent.
Right, right.
And so there's this extra, this needing of income, the struggling of the families, in
Hmm.
one way or another. And it's hard to tell, what do you tell your dad to stop following your dream.
Yeah, I know. That'd be such
Because
a
he is on the cusp, he's around, the breakthrough. You know what I mean?
yeah, he's
With
got
his inventions, but he's just not quite figured out the kinks. And he's not willing to like rebrand with other companies that might be
hmm.
able to actually make it better and just like sell all these individual ideas and make money off of that. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
there's
If
a
he
pride to it though, the individual tinkering that he does. You know.
yeah. He he has like yeah, you're right. He's on the cusp of like really good inventions. They just need more work. They just need a little bit of perfection.
Yeah, a little more time, patience, analyzation, technology, or just another pair of eyes or another brain to kind of fit the other piece of that puzzle that he's missing. But
um,
and he hits on the freaking on Kate, and she obviously rejects him and flirts with little Billy.
oh yeah, yeah, because Billy's a handsome. He's a sweet boy. He's a good boy.
Yeah, and the other
He's a
guy's a
good
total
one.
douche.
Yeah,
you know.
he's like giving me the Patrick Bateman vibes a little bit, just kind of
Well, it shows
douchey.
that even though she's working these two jobs, and one of them I think she's working for free, and that guy even makes fun of her for it a little bit.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but even it shows it's not about the money. That's not what she's after here. So
Mhm.
green flag right there,
Ah, wholesome.
a little bit.
So this is they cut away. You got anything more else for the bar
No,
scene?
no, no, no,
Okay,
no, no.
because now they're
He
getting
goes
in.
home.
Yeah, he goes home and he's getting introduced to Gizmo for the first time. Billy is, and
Yeah.
it's so cute, you know. Well, Gizmo, and he does his little singing and stuff, and he tells him about the three rules because his mom tries to take a picture, and of course it has a flash on it, so poor Gizmo just runs off, hides away. Just Gizmo doing Gizmo things. So
Well, and
cute.
also showing them already kind of loosely breaking the rules.
Yeah,
They
but
didn't. It
they,
wasn't sunlight, but they're already, not really being cautious like they need to be.
yeah, probably should have been something right out the box. Been like, hey, I do got to tell you before I open
No
them,
flash photography.
no flash photography, no, no water, no feeding after midnight, no daylight. Okay.
yeah, yeah. Gonna need stamped or tattooed or something.
Yeah.
The
But you're
string
right.
on the finger.
It does kind of show that they're not really taking the full responsibility. They are kind of treating it like it's a puppy when it has more to it than that, which is what
Much
the
more
old.
intelligent, or at least interactive. Than any puppy. This is
Yeah.
kind of a magical creature, really. And
Mhm.
it might. I'm wondering how old he is.
Oh yeah, that's a good
I'm
point.
curious. I'm curious about how old that old Gizmo is, because like in
Yeah.
the movie, as we see going throughout, he looks throughout scared, and like before anything even happens, like he knows what's gonna happen. Like he's seen this before.
Mhm. Yeah, that's
You
a good
know.
point. How old is Gizmo? We don't really even hear that. Yeah.
I don't know. I think someone probably has, but I haven't gotten through it yet, or I don't remember.
Mhm. But again, I mean, it's like kind of similar. Happens again when Billy has him up in his room, and he's playing with them, and he's having him play the piano, and he's humming to it, and he puts the little Santa hat on him, and he tries to show him his reflection in the mirror, and then that shines a little bright light in his eyes, and he falls off, and he bonks his little head. And it's still
Yeah.
kind of cute. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. I think we also get to see his mom for the first time.
Oh yeah, yeah. You get to see his mom, who's just a badass woman right there.
Yeah, and you
But
also see some more inventions too. I think
oh yeah, yeah.
egg cracker thing.
that thing is that thing's
That
violent.
yeah doesn't really work.
That thing flew off the handle. It was like,
Well, and she talks
Achoo!
about how his inventions after the first couple weeks start falling apart or something.
Mm,
Um, I don't know.
but I don't know why I put it in my notes that like when Billy goes over to bandage up Gizmo, he has the light on in the bathroom, and Gizmo's like bright light, and I just thought that was so adorable, and he turns it off because
Nice.
Billy's
I
like,
guess I missed that. That's cool.
yeah, it's like small little things, and then it's just kind of like it's showing that he is kind of learning still to take care of him, but he's making
Yeah.
mistakes, but he's trying to learn from them, Um,
Yeah. He seems like he's trying to be responsible.
he
I don't
takes
know how
care.
old Billy is.
I think he's probably.
Oh, he's in high school. That's right. He's in high school.
Well, I don't know. I think he's graduated high school. I think
Well, then what was that thing with the teacher later?
he might be still. I think he's probably like still friends with the teacher. Is kind of what I got from it.
It is
It's
small town stuff. It could be. It very
yeah.
well could be. He's like just
Mhm.
one of the smarter guys in the area.
Mhm. Yeah.
Anywho, that keyboard thing, like Gizmo even like corrects him on the notes. Or he gets like almost disoriented.
Oh yeah.
And it just shows that he it just continues to show his intelligence. His
Mhm.
ability to react and respond even on a musical level with
Mhm.
rhythm, beat, and tone, and everything else that goes into that. And I don't know. It just shows you that this is much more than a puppy, and will require just as much responsibility, if not more.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I love the little scene where they're all kind of sleeping next to each other, like with Barney there too. And I was like, "Oh, Barney's such a good
Oh,
boy." I know if my dog I know if my dogs ever saw something like that. Oh no, it wouldn't be as good. My dogs are doofuses sometimes. Or my parents' dogs are doofuses. They would do over and
yeah. No, that was wholesome. But
it was so
I thought that
wholesome.
the whole bed scene, him sleeping with Barney
Mhm.
and Gizmo was super cute.
Mhm.
I remember panicking about the bathroom just prior though. Like that's all you don't want him to get him wet, and it's like take him to the bathroom, the wettest place in the house.
The bathroom, the wet place.
Well, that's just it. Like it's a little water on the side of the top of the sink or something. Like I don't know, but we get that next morning. I think we get to see another invention.
The
Is
juice
like
maker.
peeler. No, it's like
Yeah.
a peeler and juicer in one.
Yeah. Yep.
It'll peel and juice for you, I guess.
And the thing, it starts working and then it just goes haywire. And
It
Billy's
bl-
friend, Billy's friend comes over and he's like, my parents just buy juice in cartons.
That's right. Just kind of like just different households, like a normal life, just a taste of normalcy. It's funny. His friend, because we see his friend for a second in the very beginning. He's at that. He's also kind of working. He works as a Christmas tree. In fact, he's there delivering their tree.
Oh, yep, yeah. And he's all
Uh,
dressed up
um,
as a Christmas tree.
yeah. Well, that's the first time we see his face though. Is in that one. Did you
Mm-hmm.
recognize that actor?
No, I didn't. Who?
Dude, that's Corey Fieldman.
Mm,
For some reason I can't remember his character's name, but from the Goonies.
mm.
I think he was
That's
in. Did
nuts.
Goonies come out? I think a year later though. Actually, I think Goonies came
Okay.
out a little later. Yeah, I think Goonies came out like a year or two later. So, but that kid, the actor's Corey Fieldman, and they later become part of the Goonies. So that was kind of cool.
That is really cool. I did good catch, man. He had
Actually, my mother actually pointed that out to me, and it kind of like as soon as she said it, it struck me like lightning because I had that feeling like he looks so familiar,
yeah,
but I
yeah.
didn't say anything. And I
No.
thought that was a cool catch, that from an older generation.
That is crazy. But he of course comes over and what does Billy want to do? He wants to show his friend his new little friend. He wants to show him Gizmo. And you walk in and the kid does not even I don't even think he notices Gizmo at first. He throws the blanket over Gizmo because he saw the comics. And Gizmo was watching a movie, dude. And he's like pretending that he's racing and stuff in the movie.
Yeah, he gets real intense about it, like really intense about it.
Yeah, he was so cute. They zoom on his little face and he's just making the
You
little
want to get him a
noises.
little, you want to get him a little race car bed,
You
like
do. Like a little tiny little race car bed. Like
yeah.
And then when he
Cute, cute
does
coos cooing.
he does he does get to show him and he shows him play the piano and sing a little bit before he wants to pick him up and he's like all right sure but he knocks over some of Billy's paint supplies or artist supplies and had water
I
in
think
it.
it's a cup of water, yeah, for paint.
Hmm. He's got to paint his 40K minis, you know.
You know it. Um,
And
but yeah, so that's when we first see the first spawning. And
mm,
also, this again makes me think of tribbles because tribbles are almost like a little fuzz ball,
oh
like of a
yeah.
creature. And I think that's where I think I get the most of the tribble vibe that I said earlier is during the spawning process of Mogwai specifically.
Oh wow, I'm looking at a picture and I definitely see what you're saying. It's just like
Okay, cool. I'm glad you're
Captain
looking
Kirk
some
is just
stuff up. I haven't been, like
Captain
while we're
Kirk is
doing this.
just surrounded by them.
Yes, yes, exactly.
he looks he looks, oh my god, his face just says so much. And that, yeah, poor little Gizmo just gives birth
Popping
to
out his
like,
back.
was it like five or,
I think it was. That sounds about right.
yeah, like five of them pop out, and one of them having a little stripe on his head. You know, he becomes the absolute menace, and he's a menace right out the gate. Like he tries, like that kid was trying to pet him, or little Corey Feldman there is trying to pet him, and he tries biting him, and I was like, ah, Stripes a little terrorist right away.
They were all kind of nasty. I remember just thinking like, nasty little buggers, like they were
Yeah.
just mean little things. Like, and
Mhm.
they're not even gremlins. These are just Mogwai.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering if it's all the ones off of Gizmo. And this also goes back to whether or not Gizmo is like older and has gone through this before, and if that's why he's
Mhm.
like
He's
more
a little bit.
mature or
Yeah, like
something,
that's how Mogwais are when
domesticated.
they're young. They're little menaces. But
Yeah,
yeah.
just like with anything like that. They
Mhm.
have yet to mature, or they're just like chaotic. You get I don't know if I want to say low key, but you do get that the mischievous, chaotic,
Mhm.
you know, kind of
Yeah.
vibes off of these creatures.
And their little group, they group up immediately, and they kind of exclude Gizmo from their little shenanigans, their playtime, and Gizmo's just trying to play this little trumpet thing next to Barney, and Barney's just kind of sitting there being a good boy. And I guess Stripe took offense to Gizmo having fun, and he spits at him. And
I don't remember that for some reason.
he's like, "Yeah, Gizmo's like playing on his little trumpet thing," and he's like, and then they do the little sound effect, and he goes, "Tui!" Like they do the little kind of cartoonish sound effect. Where he spits at him because they're all playing that little mini Atari little thing.
So later that night is when we end up seeing them string up that dog, Barney.
Oh, poor
So they're
Barney.
they're not even gremlins, and they're Mogwai, and these things are still acting just as such.
I know
Almost,
they
they're up to
just
no good.
they're yeah they're little menaces. They've had to do some serious ingenuity, which I guess is a common thread. The Gremlins and the Mogwai, they're pretty clever at knowing how technology works and how engineering works. So I guess maybe they made like some kind of pulley system to wrap up freaking poor Barney up.
Yeah, no, exactly. The funny thing, that scene actually has is some pretty big significance because that scene was actually originally they were supposed to kill Barney.
No.
Yes.
God, I
They
would
were
be so
supposed to
mad.
kill Barney in that scene. Instead, they ended up going with that. And this is when we talk about, like, trying to figure out where they are as a family movie. And once again, why this movie basically made Steven Spielberg start pitching PG-13 as a rating after the movie was made. Because I think he felt that Gremlins should have been PG-13. And partly
Yeah.
because of some of these things like Barney dying. There's one other death actually that ended up not happening. While we're on that topic, and that is actually Billy's mom.
No, really?
Yes, it was actually graphic. I think she was supposed to literally have her head chopped off, and they were supposed to throw it down the stairs.
Oh my goodness, no.
Yeah, they ended up not doing either of those.
I'm very
But
thankful actually, because
I
I.
have mixed feelings. It would have been kind of cool, but honestly, the main thing that would want is that to happen to Mrs. Deagle. So
Yeah,
I don't
let
know,
that
but
let that happen to Mrs. Deagle. I like. it kind of would. I think it'd lose some of its cutesiness if they had the dog die and the mom get like
Beheaded.
beheaded in the movie.
like a French king, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, they suspect Mrs. Deagle of being the one to string up the dog,
Oh, naturally, because
which I think she would have done
yeah.
much worse.
Yeah, she would have. If the dog did die, it would definitely be. I'd be more sus of Mrs. Deagle. But
Indeed.
we all know with the little shit-eating grin that Stripe had before he went to bed, it was all them. It was all the
All
new,
there.
all the new Mogwais. But
No. We see some more inventions right around here too, because it's like the next morning.
oh yeah, the coffee maker, yeah, and
I
it's
actually don't remember the coffee maker.
yeah, it was the coffee
What was
maker. It
how'd the coffee
starts
maker? Oh, that's right. Never mind. Go on. I
turned.
remember now.
She like has like one cup, and then just a little bit of coffee comes out, and then it makes that noise that all his gadgets make before they start screwing up. And then it starts releasing this black sludge. And
Ugh,
I kind of
gross.
love what his dad says, Mr. Peltzer says. He's like, I don't think we can drink this. And he goes, oh, well, he's looking at it stern. He's like, what's wrong with this? And they kind of have like a little laugh together. Because I
Well,
thought
they've
that
been
was,
through it so much. That gave it
yeah.
relationship. You know, it felt like they've been together for years and they've been going through this, and this is all just familiar, and they've just learned to laugh about it and move on. You
Yeah,
know, and
exactly. I thought,
keep going through it. You know.
yeah, I love their little dynamic together where she's not mad at him or anything. It's just kind of like, we know. This
We know. We got to
person.
buy the coffee or the orange juice, you know. But we also see the other ones I have down was that he had a hammer that
Oh,
that had a hammering end, like it like moved mechanically at the tip.
oh yeah. I
It was
think
like
that
a
one needs some work. I don't think that would be a very good hammer.
no, and he had like four fly swatters on like a gun that like goes forward but then like fans out and then like just spins like four fly swatters like a ceiling fan kind of.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was like on like a little
I,
drill gun, and I was like, kind of wonder if this was like someone in the crew was like, "Hey, these are real inventions. I want to make them," and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna make them jokes in this movie."
Absolutely. Yeah, so far the best one is that little American Army knife.
Yeah, the American Army knife. I would love to have my own juice, like orange juicer peeler thing. That would be really cool to have. But I also don't want it painting my kitchen. So.
No. One in my cup, not on my walls.
But isn't this? I think this is where he goes to Mr. Hansen. Mr. Hansen is like, he's a intelligent man, so he's trying to like he wants to do a little testing and learn about the Mogwai. So he leaves one that he clones right in front of him, and he leaves Billy leaves one for him to kind of study, and then you get to see at the bar, Mr. Futterman has tied one on pretty good, and he's getting into his tractor. He drives his tractor to the bar. Like he's like
Small town shit. Tractors, horses,
Yeah, I know.
lawn mowers.
You know when he goes in there and he's had a few to drink, he's got to tell everyone about his tractor being a Kentucky Harvester. Like he's got to tell everyone about.
Always gets me home every time. Although not that night.
Not that night, no, because he was trying to start it and he was like, "It's the Gremlins. They're in the machines.
No.
They
It's
they
the
get."
only thing that would touch and harm the special Kentucky harvester, you know.
Yep, yeah. It was the foreigners. They brought in the Gremlins and
Yeah,
they could
yes, that's when I said that. Okay,
they
yeah.
they put them in watches. They put them in watches too. Like they got little small ones for it.
Right. Micro gremlins.
Micro gremlins, the tiny ones. It was up until he said that as a kid, I was like, he might be onto something because this movie is Gremlins. And then he said, yeah,
Yeah.
they got little ones for the watches, and I was like, oh no, he's just crazy. Okay, he's just angry at at foreign technology. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, yeah. But I think this is when Billy and Kate end up like doing that stroll,
Oh yeah.
and when the carolers are like singing "Silent Night" in the background. Which again, Christmas movie. Throughout the movie, like when it goes Christmassy, I'm like, oh, that's right. I keep forgetting.
I
like,
keep forgetting it's.
like periodically throughout the whole movie. But she talks about how Mr. Futterman's been like that ever since he lost his job.
Yeah. To
And
the.
that most people, just want someone to listen to, especially on like the holidays.
Yeah. They,
Well, you see this economic struggle that like everyone and almost everyone in the town's going through.
yeah.
And you see that in small towns, small economies,
Very much a they took your gerbs, situation.
They took our jobs. They took your jobs. They took your jobs.
Anywho, yes, the Gremlins took his gerb,
Yeah, the
but
Gremlins, the foreigners, they gotta blame. so
but
yeah,
anywho, but she seems really down to earth, and she relates to like this kind of like these issues that people are having, especially on the holidays.
yeah,
You
she's really
know,
really disillusioned by a lot of the pretend that everything's okay when it's not kind of thing.
yeah, and that kid Billy lives in like a complete delusion. He's like, I think he said something like,
Well, I wouldn't say he lives in a delusion. I think that he's just okay with being happy. Like, I
well, no,
think
he's just like, I thought everyone's like happy on the holidays no matter what.
yeah.
He says that's completely delusional. like,
I I suppose so, but he was wanting to listen. He was wanting to hear her side.
yeah,
It's not a perspective you'd taken into account before, and
yeah. No, that's fair. It's kind of like an ignorant optimism.
yeah, yeah.
You
And
know,
she talks, tells him, and it kind of reveals more of her kind of cynical, kind of like more down to earth, worldview on Christmas,
a
talking about
little bleak too.
yeah, a little bleak and about this. She's talking about Christmas, and then she's like, "Well, a lot of people kill themselves on Christmas."
Yep. While everybody else is opening up presents, they open up their wrists. You
Yeah,
know.
it's like, oh, thanks, negative Nancy.
Yeah, even Billy at the end, like who was just saying, "Isn't everyone so happy and cheerful no matter what?" He's like, "Now I'm depressed." like,
now I'm, well, now
like
I'm sad.
she brought him down. like,
Yeah, and it does kind of lead to like kind of a cute scene because she clearly doesn't like Christmas, but they are able to kind of like he kind of takes into account what she said, but
well,
he
there's so much pressure. Like even like this whole movie aside, I feel like holidays, especially things like Christmas and whatnot.
mhm.
Well, Christmas, so it's like in the winter. It's cold. People get lack of vitamin D. Everything's dead. Usually like there's less
Everything's dead.
jobs and stuff.
Damn it, they took my job!
Well, it's really hard around that time of year, and there's all this societal pressure to be happy and joyful and whatever, and
Get your
it
kids
almost
gifts.
intensifies that misery even more so.
Mhm.
It's weird. I don't know. It's kind of ironic, but it's very sad and very common.
Mhm. But
These holiday depression.
right, but they do kind of have like a that nice moment where he does ask her out, and it's just like it
On
made
the
me
porch.
yeah, on the porch, and it really kind of like it had such an innocence to it, that scene, because it kind of showed them kind of being very young, and
Yeah, and
Billy
innocent is a good word for
yeah,
that.
Billy is such
Well,
a sweet kid in that.
yeah, honestly, it was almost too sweet. I'm not gonna lie. That scene specifically, like when she says yes to him and he's like all excited, it came across a little creepy, but it was like because he was just had this really gleeful smile, but then he also the lighting. They had like this really weird lighting on his face.
Oh yeah, they did on both of them actually, like
Yeah, it was like a dark shadow over their face, and I think that was supposed to like just like kind of intensify their look, and it was supposed to be more romantic feeling, but it honestly gave me like total creep vibes a little bit, like just a little bit. It was like that was weird. Was
I
that
def
weird?
I no, I definitely feel what you're saying here. I kind of got that too, but at the same I was able to kind of overlook it a little bit and see like the kind of romance of the scene.
Yeah.
But you're
And like
right,
you
they
said,
did.
the innocence, I think, is a big
Yeah,
part too.
yeah. But I'll agree with you. Um, it is definitely like weirdly lit. It does make them look kind of creepy. Like,
Yeah, almost sinister. It's weird.
yeah,
But I think this is after that whole thing. You know, they get that bond. He kind of understands her a little more. She understands him. You know, and I think we get the cut scene to the doc taking that Mogwai blood.
oh yeah, and it's like very orangey, and that
Yeah, and it's like he won't even miss it.
you won't even miss it. And I think while this is going on, they kind of have the invasion of the body snatchers, wasn't it? Was playing on the TV, and little
I'm
Gizmo's
not sure.
getting scared. They're all like, "You're next, you're next," and all the pods are opening up, and it's setting up for what's about to happen. And Mr. Hansen's doing his little test, and Billy notice, those Mogwais just will not shut up because they're hungry, they want food, and they pulled a little sneaky on Billy, and they
Snaky
disconnected.
snake.
Yeah, they disconnected the clock, so it still looks like it's like 11:40 or something. And then he's like, "Well, what's the harm?" And he gives him
Not
some.
midnight yet.
Not midnight yet, and he gives him a little snack, and he even offers some to Gizmo, who Gizmo
Like a
turns down.
whole plate of chicken legs.
Oh yeah,
But for like 5 of them, maybe. But they're also really small, and I think they grow later.
oh yeah, they got a little
I think
bigger.
I think Gremlins are much bigger than the Mogwai
Oh yeah,
furball.
yeah, they definitely got longer limbs.
They
When
eat, they mow down, kind of disgustingly at
oh
that.
yeah, it really was. You get close-ups on their face, and it's like all greasy, and the chicken's being torn up, and it's kind of
Yeah.
nasty.
And I thought they did a little clever, like when they zoom out of that, it's just like the box and it's just ruffling, and they just occasionally will have like a chicken leg fly from one side of the box to the other or something. You
Yeah,
know,
they did.
they didn't have to keep doing the animatronic puppet stuff. You know, they can only do so
Yeah.
many like faces with it. You know, and so they let the rest kind of go with your imagination. You saw it, now just kind of play. Imagine the rest. You know.
Mm-hmm. And that's at the same time Mr. Hansen gets his little blood sample, but he leaves a sandwich out, and
Yep.
our little friend there.
Remembers to take the chips though.
Yep, we gotta have a snack for the walk home. Leaves
Not
his
that
whole.
sandwich though.
No. Yeah, he took a bite into that. He realized he didn't put any mustard or mayonnaise or anything on it. It was dry. He was like, nope,
No.
don't want this.
Put the chips in it, dude. Come on now. Yeah, I think it's like 2:20 in the morning when that happens with the sandwich one.
Oh yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I think they cut back to like Bill and Giz watching TV and just passing out.
Hmm. And then it's they wake up, and the chrysalises, they're all in these pods,
Yeah,
all the
the
little.
pupil stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're going through these metamorphoses.
Yeah. Yeah, and like, oh, that'd be so. They look gross. They look like boogers. Little
Absolute
cabbages.
total aliens. Actually, when did Alien come out? I think it came. When did Alien come out? The movie Alien.
Yeah.
When did that come out? I'm gonna look it up real quick because it reminded me a lot of that. And honestly, the mom a little bit in later scenes when she sees the these little egg sacs or whatever, she
Hmm.
kind of looks a little bit like Sigourney Weaver.
A little bit like Ripley
The one
there.
that, yeah, exactly. So like, I don't know. I felt Mad Alien vibes on it.
No, I agree with you there.
1979, so they definitely could have referenced that.
Yeah, yeah, they definitely had like a similar look to them, and that's when Billy realizes the trick, and he's kind of like, he's too innocent to be really mad, I guess, but like he's like, what is going on, like, so.
Something's off.
So he goes up to Mr. Hansen, who's also had his enter the pupil stage, and he's explaining it to him. It's like a chrysalis where they're changing,
Mm-hmm.
and the kid's like my mother, like
That's right.
sarcastically. No, not like that.
No. A complete transformation, and form and appearance.
And he's cutting it out so he can get a better look at it, and I think this is also the first time you see the father at the inventors convention too, right after this.
Please tell us about the convention or whatever he's
Oh,
at.
the invention convention, the inventors
The
convention.
Is that what it's called? The invention convention? That's actually pretty sick. Clever. And he's actually kind of clever with his wordplay too. He's got one pitch. I can't remember how it goes. Like I make the illogical logical, and he says something else too. Just these clever, like pitchy marketing play
Yeah,
on words.
yeah. He's definitely a salesman, a man of the sales trade,
He is for sure.
But he seems kind of sad because like so many other people have such fine, like pretty impressive gadgets. Like there's one that was Robbie, the robot from Forbidden Planet is walking around there, and
That's where that is. Yeah.
they have apparently a working time machine because the time machine from like I think it's H.G. Wells time machine was in the background, and then on the next clip the time machine's gone and there are people like kind of looking at where it was.
Nice. Yeah, I miss you talking about that. I missed that scene. It's so ridiculous. I wish I would have caught that. They also had Steven Spielberg rolling through.
This is his
Rolling through
cameo.
with
Yeah.
This is Steven Spielberg's like for like a second or two he just like rolls across. He's like being pushed across in like a wheelchair with a broken leg. Like he's got like Steven Spielberg has a broken leg in it, just like
Perfect.
running through it. I don't know.
Yeah, I had to throw in the executive producer in there. It's nice that they have little cameos like that. I actually, when I was watching it with Anita, I saw that the time machine was back there, and I was like, "Hey, look, that's the time machine from." And she didn't see that movie either, so But I was like, "Look at it," and then like when the next scene came up, I was like, "Well, it was there. I don't know. I guess it's just maybe it was just a mistake."
Right. Changed the timeline and made you forget.
Yeah.
It kind of makes and this goes back to what we were talking about, how like a lot of movies reference the 80s, including Gremlins, but Gremlins references a lot of older stuff, and we see that again, especially in that scene like you're talking.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like gone working on like Christmas Eve or whatever. So it's Christmas Eve. He's literally left his family to go to this convention, and he finds out that he's like, at the bottom of the pecking order.
Which is so sad. It's kind of hard.
He's around the real inventors. It's like, oh no.
It's so sad.
With these crazy, like you said, a time machine. How can you compete with these people? There's no way his toothbrush and comb and mirror or whatever in one is gonna handle up to that.
I know.
Or even that robot.
Even that robot, yeah.
Not even close. Yeah. I think we see Mrs. Deagle again at the bank.
Oh yeah.
Or something, and she's still Cruella de Villing the shit out of it.
Oh yeah, she is. She's just a menace. She's just
she's just reminding us she's here and making us forget who the real villains are yet again.
Yeah.
This is a Scrooge story, not a expecting the ghost to come hunt her.
Yeah.
3 ghosts, but and then they cut straight to the classroom.
Oh yeah.
I think that science teacher's, what's his name?
Mr. Hansen.
Mr. Hansen, his class, and they're doing like stuff on like heartbeats.
Yeah, talking about the heart and like how small animals have to circulate blood much faster because they lose heat faster. Which I don't know. I was loving all of that because
it reminded me a lot of school. I didn't grow up in the 80s, but it didn't change much when I was there either. It seemed.
I love biology. I love anatomy stuff. So hearing that was
fun. Big time. Yeah, no, it's pretty cool, and you can see their little hearts.
Mm-hmm.
And give people the concepts. But
the nice framing of it was like that little clip was happening during their opening, during the Chrysalis opening, and they transition from the heartbeats on the projector to the heartbeat of the gremlin coming out of its little pod. And I thought that was so cool. It was kind of like a nice. It showed that the tone was changing a little bit.
Good catch. I didn't catch that at all.
I loved it. And they have the iconic a style to the iconic Gremlins music kind of playing while it's transitioning over like that. And you see the ones at the house at Billy's house are also opening up, and they're just going to be just major terrors to Gizmo, and Gizmo's like, kind of hiding away, and they're just bullying the shit out of him. They're throwing darts at him and stuff, and so the class ends, right? And then all the kids leave, and Mr. Hansen's still there, and he's hears the gremlin escape, and he's like, "Oh, you're not still mad about that little blood test?" And I was like, I just put in my notes, this gremlin is indeed still mad about the blood test.
He actually did miss it. After all.
And
you see them all. I think they also cut to like the rest of them hatching at the same time, because like for they first show it hatching, and I thought like I was a little confused because they like completely almost seamlessly transitioned to the rest of them hatching back at Billy's house.
Yeah, because they're kind of going
Gizmo's
back
all
and
scared.
forth. Yeah, they're going like back and forth on that for sure.
Yeah.
And
same time, they're all hatching at the same time, which was interesting because I think that the science teacher, I don't know if they got fed at the same exact time, because I don't know what time it was. It was just past midnight. That's all we know. So it could have been at the pretty much the same time, that 2:20 or whatever.
But Mr. Hansen's still thinking it's like a nice creature, like the
When
manga one.
can you feed them?
Yeah.
6 in the morning?
Is that when it's not past midnight
No,
anymore?
yeah, that's what I'm asking. When does that end? When does it start? They never gave them when you can start feeding them. What?
Technically, everything's after midnight.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Midnight from yesterday. Until it turns midnight again.
But
anywho, back to the, logic aside.
So poor Mr. Hansen gets grabbed and murked by that gremlin.
Does he die?
He looked pretty dead to me.
I couldn't tell. I'll bring that up later on in the video. Freaking. But yeah, he like tries feeding him a Snickers, I think.
Yeah, and he's like, "I got a treat for you," trying to get him out, and then you see him grab his hand in. Yeah, sticks his hand under the table, which shouldn't do without looking at the thing first.
Right.
See. Because I bet if he saw what that fucking thing looked like, he wouldn't have stuck his hand in there.
Yeah, the whole hand in the hole kind of thing. Yeah. I know the movie came out much later, but Mummy 2 kind of made me think of that a little bit when, you put your hand in there and it like just like
oh yeah,
links on. It's like,
that guy. Gooified hand.
But just sticking your hand in there and trusting it, He trusted that it was only going to eat the Snickers.
Yeah.
But just like the Furby, it's predatorial.
Yeah, it's predatory. They have shown nothing really. Very few images of the actual Gremlins at this point. It's been kind of building up.
I don't think we've seen the Gremlins yet, did we?
No, not at all. Yeah.
Like, except for maybe a hand. I think we saw a gremlin hand.
You saw a gremlin hand, and that was like when Billy comes up to Mr. Hansen's class to go talk to him about the gremlin, and he sees that Mr. Hansen, I think he's dead under the table, and
I think so too.
He's got a needle in his butt, so like.
What? I don't remember that for some reason. I remember there was something. I thought it was like a cross or something. I couldn't tell. It was a needle. He had a needle in his butt.
Yeah, I used to think it was a cross too when I was a kid, but yeah, it was a needle.
Yeah, like a butterfly needle or something.
Yeah, right in his butt. So I'm guessing he injected him with something. But yeah, indeed, still very mad about the blood test.
Yeah. Oh, that's why he did the needle.
Yeah.
I wonder if he took like how do you like getting stuck with a needle?
Yeah, and I could only really define this gremlin as the stupid gremlin because he's like he takes a bite out of an apple, and this is where you get to see the hand. It comes up and takes a bite of the apple and spits it out and throws it away. But he takes a piece of glass and he starts
that's
munching
right,
away
like a test tube.
Yeah,
That's right. Whenever I see something eating glass, I always think of the Grinch for some reason. Like Mike Myers. I'm not Mike Myers. Jim Carrey. Goodness gracious. My bad, Jim. But Santa. Bye bye. I don't know. But yeah, he eats the beaker. And it shows that he doesn't like apples. He'll rather eat glass in your hand than an apple. You know.
And that was when Billy gets clawed too when he tries to reach for the phone. Clawed right on the hand, which is something that they kind of like. The injuries that he gets, they keep throughout the entire movie. Like he doesn't just shrug it off. He.
Oh, do they? That's cool. I didn't notice.
Yeah, because he's had his hand wrapped up.
No fixed next scene.
Yeah, I liked that, and that's also when Gizmo gets thrown. Like you get to see another arm, and it's just throwing Gizmo down the freaking laundry chute.
Yeah, dude, laundry chute. I never had one of those growing up, and you see those all the time in the older movies.
Yeah.
What happened to the laundry chute?
They're kind of nice, honestly.
Definitely convenient.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of mischievousness with like kids or whatnot. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
I would use it to play with my toys if I did. I know I did when
I would have jumped down it as a kid. I know. Hopefully, there's clothes at the bottom.
My grandparents had a laundry chute, and we would like put toys down it, and they would get like no, stop doing that. Like,
oh man, Grandma, you're not using this to its full potential.
This is perfect for my action figures to jump down.
Yeah, not get harmed. Again, assuming there's clothes at the bottom.
Yeah. But it says Gizmo caca. And I thought that was really funny when he throws poor Gizmo down the laundry chute.
Yeah.
And so Billy calls his mom as soon as he can about them hatching. And
yeah, she's looking at the eggs right there. She's like standing in front of them or something.
Yeah. And she's trying to or he's trying to tell her, he's trying to warn her, but that's when you get your first is this the first ET Easter egg there? Where this is where the hand comes up and rips out the phone line.
Oh, that's right. Phone home, caca.
Yeah, phone home.
Yeah, the Gremlin says that, and that's the first ET reference we get in the movie. I think.
And then immediately they play Do You Hear What I Hear on the record player.
Yep.
And they have small little details. As she's going through the house looking for whatever hatched, because mom, like I think she grabbed a knife right away. I think
so.
And she's going through, and there's small details at them that you don't always catch your first time watching the movie. Like I noticed there was footprints on next to the record player on the stereo system.
Really?
Yeah. And then when she's in the hallway, you can see the shadow of one of them.
Oh yeah,
and hiding.
Yeah, and you get that the kind of I don't know. They're still like I said. There's just this big suspense for what the actual full appearance of the Gremlins.
Mm-hmm.
They're still not showing us. We're still just getting shadows. And like you're saying, footprints apparently.
Mm-hmm. And then they finally had the reveal, and it's one of them munching away at one of her cookies, and he's digging into the mixing bowl, and Mom just comes out swinging, dude.
Is that what it is? I thought it was a mixing bowl, but it made sense, but it acts like a blender.
Oh yeah, like he got.
I'm so confused on that mixing bowl.
I feel like it was probably one of the Peltzer mixing bowls.
It was definitely a Peltzer mixing bowl.
Yeah, and she freaking turns it on and just murderizes that first one.
Yeah,
And
I was such kind of shocked how much gore was in it. It sets the tone, a little bit. It was just like, oh wow,
yeah.
like they're actually going gory here, and we got green blood, which again reminds me of frickin' Alien.
Oh yeah, it's like greenish black, like a blackish green kind of.
Yeah, like the NyQuil flavor no one drinks.
And then she's pretty badass, dude. She is like freaking goes in, stabs another one with the kitchen knife, and you get the most memorable one I think was when it starts throwing like cookie sheets and like
Plates.
plates at her, and she starts spraying them and forces them into the microwave, and she turns it on.
Oh, and it's like back to back.
Back to back. Mom was freaking not fucking around. She saw little demons in her house, and she just starts killing them.
Yeah, when he was like throwing plates and stuff, I actually kind of wondered a little bit if that scene inspired the scene from Jumanji, Robin Williams, like the older Jumanji, with
Yeah.
like the monkeys in the kitchen.
Oh
I definitely,
yeah.
the monkeys in the kitchen vibes. I felt like it had a lot of similar feel of the gremlins in the kitchen.
Yeah. Because they're kind of like monkeys a little bit too. They're just how they're portrayed is just little chaotic little
They're
fellas.
they're monkeys with a specialty in like electrical engineering and and mechanics and whatnot.
Yeah.
But
And then she
she uses.
comes in.
Go on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh no, you go ahead. You go ahead. I've been.
Um. Oh no. She integrate. Well, she just after like that gush. She sprayed him with like tick spray, like flea
Oh
and tick
yeah.
killer, which is pretty brutal. But after that big microwave explosion that we got, exploded really fast too. He exploded like 5-10 seconds in. Is that also a Peltzer a
The
Peltzer
Peltzer
microwave?
The Peltzer super atomic night microwave.
Right, made with real plutonium. Oh man. Oh, but they I don't know what's going on, but yeah, she blows up at that microwave, and then she grabs a kitchen knife, and then she grabs a second kitchen knife,
Oh yeah, dude. She's ready to slay. She's
dual wielding.
Mom's on a blood frenzy right now.
Gotta initiate berserk or something.
Yeah. She's
No.
she's the little stocking in there, and it's kind of like the fake out, because you think there's one in the stocking, but it's just a little toy.
Yes, that's right. It's a robo toy. I don't know what that toy's from. For a second, I thought it was a transformer, but it is not. I don't know what kind of toy, little robot toy that was.
It was just a little fancy little 80s robot guy, I guess.
I'm sure it had some kind of relevance. If anyone knows, definitely hit that up in the comments. Curious to
Yeah.
what that was, that robot toy in the stocking.
Any of you Gen Xers out there?
Yeah, or above,
Or above.
They bought it for their Gen X children.
And I love every time I watch this movie, I love looking for the Gremlins' eyes in the Christmas tree because they blend in with the rest of the lights. It's so cool. I loved that part because as she's backing up into the Christmas tree, you can see his eyes right before he leaps out at her. And it looks so demonic the way they look, where he looks when he's posed in there. It's
Yeah, well,
absolutely sick.
especially with the Christmas tree vibe stuff in the background, really like contrast each other. It just makes it pop.
Mm-hmm. And his eyes are like blood red, and then jumps her as like a living Christmas tree.
Yeah, like she's getting attacked by a tree. Like
And
Vietnam.
like Vietnam, they're in the trees. The
Right.
Gremlins, they're in the trees.
Yeah, you just hear in the background, phone home, caca.
This is the flashbacks we don't talk about in those movies. But Billy
She gets
comes
attacked by
in.
the tree. Yeah, her hero Billy, her son, finally comes and saves her
with
with the sword.
the sword that keeps falling off every time they close the door.
Yeah, his dad ends up putting that up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it falls when they close the door. That's actually interesting. I thought he was admiring it or something at first.
Oh yeah.
No, it falls, and that makes sense. That falls. It's kind of like this theme that they have going on with like everything else in their life, and this in this whole thing with the inventions. Like not even they can't even get the sword on the wall to stay there. Everything's just falling apart in this place.
And dude, Billy just deheads that thing. And
like what was supposed to happen to his mom originally.
yeah.
Full on beheading.
Full on beheading. Launches it into the fireplace, and it was kind of a cool scene. It was just like the way it was sitting there on fire.
Yeah, just a log on the fire, but it's the full on gremlin head. And that's just one of those fun gore things that were kind of like,
yeah,
just
right up my
clever and
alley.
just fun. Yeah, it was good.
The fun kills. It's gross. I love it.
Yeah. I think Stripe was witnessing all that whole time. Like, I think at some point during that, he came out of a box and they never noticed Stripe, and he was just watching it. I think he blows his nose on the curtain because
yeah.
Because where else do you blow your nose? You got to make it as like ridiculous as possible. Yes, the curtain. Yes, the curtain.
He is that crude. He's like, tissues? No, thank you.
And then he bails.
He escapes.
I think he just jumps right out the window or something, right behind him, right behind the curtains. And then I think that's when he ends up finding Gizmo in the laundry chute.
Oh, yep. They reunite, and Gizmo's still a good feller. And
because he probably wouldn't have survived that between either the gremlins continually messing with him or like his mom or Billy's mom just like losing it, and end up killing Gizmo too or something.
Oh yeah, that would be the darker timeline, huh? Like she kills all of them and then sees Gizmo. You're one of them too, aren't you?
Yeah, pretty much. Only one way to end this, once and for all.
That would be a very different ending to the
movie. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's when I think we get more of that convention cut. I don't know.
Yeah, you do. You get to see his dad there and his
and Prim Slim again.
Yeah, Robbie the robot's right
Robbie
behind
the
him
robot.
On the phone.
Yeah.
Which I actually always get more invested in what Robbie the robot has to say instead of what his dad's having to say.
I hope his name is Robbie the robot. I'm having a hard time. I hope that's what that was referenced. It's something like that.
That's what I looked it up, man.
Is that what? Oh, you did look it up. Okay,
yeah.
Just making sure. Okay, good. It is Robbie the robot then. I didn't misremember that because I barely got over that before we started.
The Protectron.
Yes. Like I said, Prim Slim.
Prim Slim. He's even got a little like cowboy hat on too. Like it's
or Fisto. That's exactly why I thought Prim Slim was that cowboy hat.
Yeah.
It's just like, dude, it's a Protectron with a cowboy hat. Who else is that but Prim Slim? But and I think they end up cutting back to I think that's when they end up cutting to they're chasing Stripes.
Yeah, they're chasing Stripes. Billy drops his
or
mom
Stripe,
off at the neighbor's house and then goes to hunt down Stripe.
And he goes to the YMCA. Cue Donald Trump theme song for some reason.
The Y, yeah,
goes YMCA. Yeah.
And
but
of course, Stripe manages to get away and scratch Billy on the chest.
Well, yeah, like he takes a moment
Yeah.
Like it's not like in like a fight. He like jumps at him and then like he knows he's about to like do his thing, but just before he does it, he's like one quick fuck you.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. That
he
is
just
just
like goes up
Stripe's
to him and just
personality.
scratches his chest and goes back in. He's like, "I'll get you in a minute." Like,
Yeah.
don't you go anywhere.
Yeah, you're right, dude. He leaves and then he just like comes back. It's like I haven't caused enough chaos yet.
Yeah, it's like a small comedic moment in it. Yeah, but
But
he cannonballs in the pool.
cannonballs right in there, and at that point, Billy's like, "Well, uh, this is
And
fucked."
this is the big turning point in the moment. Like we got a taste of it in his house.
Hmm.
You know, you can only imagine what's going to come out of a whole pool. Like he got a whole pool full.
Yeah, I think like Gizmo even goes like a little, "Uh-oh," you know, when that
Yeah.
happens. And
Yeah, exactly. I'm just curious about like if they split in the pool and they go in the pool, are those ones splitting too?
I think so.
Like, I don't know. I
See
wonder if they
this
ran out of water. I wonder how much water it takes. It doesn't take. It only takes like a drop. I don't know.
It
Don't
only
think
took a
about it
drop
too
to
hard.
one, so
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't
I,
know.
but he immediately goes to the cops, and the cops are like boneheads. Like, most movie cops are
Oh,
just boobs,
yeah. Well,
like,
I think they're drunks.
oh yeah, they're drinking too.
Yeah, the cops are drunk. The sheriff and his deputy.
Yeah, it's Christmas time, so they're having a little something in their eggnog. It's illegal for you to
Yeah.
drink and drive, but they can.
Yeah. No drinking and driving without a badge. But they
they're
yeah, they
trying.
joke about all that stuff.
Yeah, they're trying to like convince him about the Gremlins. And they're kind of entertaining it, but more like they're kind of laughing at him. They're like,
They're just like, yeah,
sure.
go on, like, another crazy story,
Yeah, and
they're just finding more like entertainment than anything, like you said.
yeah, and at this point, freaking the Gremlins are starting to storm the town, and this is a really cool shot of the stop motion there. I love
Mm-hmm.
that they're just kind of coming out of the shadows into the street light.
Well, it's like one, and then like two, and then like the whole army.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes to that we're talking Overlord. I felt like a big Overlord vibes on that. Obviously that was as an inspiration to Overlords, maybe
Yeah, I think so too. I think
that
over.
army of gremlins marching. They weren't marching; they were like but just that chaotic, organized but disorganized grouping.
Mm-hmm. And while Billy's messing with the cops, the freaking Gremlins are starting to mess with Mr. Futterman's house. They're just doing gremlin shit. His wife is like super nice and sweet, and he's complaining about the TV. He can't get it to work.
Yeah, he said he should have gone to Zenith, which I'm pretty sure is probably an American brand, assuming.
Yeah,
So
I'm
he got a
assuming.
foreign TV and he's blaming it on that.
Yeah, well, the Gremlins are just going like they're having like a whole song and dance up
Dude,
on his roof.
they go crazy. They go absolute bananas on his freaking antenna. Like I'm surprised it was still like there when he goes and checks on it. Like,
Yeah, and then they bust out with his tractor, his prize.
it's a snowplow, I
Oh, his
think.
snowplow. Yeah, and they start chasing him down, breaking down his house, and he's like, "There's a
With
gremlin."
him in it.
Yeah,
And his
yeah.
wife.
There's a gremlin in there. A gremlin.
I can't believe it. A gremlin in my cab. And
And
the wife
freaking
that whole time was still saying that he was crazy.
yeah, she was
Like they're literally
yelling.
about to get run over by a gremlin, and she's just like, "You're crazy, you're crazy." Like,
And
who's the crazy one at this point?
I know, and I love where they play the music here too. It's like that iconic on full blast, the full Gremlin sound is playing while that whole thing is going on.
Yeah, we
It's
get an
great.
off scene, presumably. I think they do state later that they pretty much they died, kind of. So it's an off screen death.
Hmm. I heard they were actually getting a a statement from them at the end on the report. So from the hospital. So I think they did say that they lived. I thought they died.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you caught that because that actually will make more sense later on when we talk about the kill count.
Mm-hmm.
So I think after this whole thing, they end up cutting to the like a priest trying to put like some letters in a
Oh,
mailbox.
the mailbox scene.
Yeah, the mailbox scene. I can't remember who that guy is. He was there earlier. He's
Yeah.
in the film before, but I can't remember who he was.
Yeah,
He's,
he's got that really good beard going on with the pipe
oh,
and
like a captain, like a sea captain.
like a sea captain's beard, and
Yeah.
he has the logic of when I'm gonna put my mail in, I'm gonna stick my whole hand in there, like because the priest keeps getting
Well,
his
it might
stuff
have
thrown
something
out.
fragile in it, so he doesn't want it to like fall.
Okay.
Maybe, and he's trying. I don't know. I'm trying to give logic to it, but maybe there isn't. He sticks his whole ass hand in there. Again, it kind of reminded me a little bit of like what later will be the Mummy 2.
Yeah.
Just sticking your hand in there, and it just
They
not
grab a
good.
hold of
Not
it.
good. Yeah, not good. Shouldn't have done that. Wish I never stuck my hand in there, or
Yeah.
amongst other things.
Amongst other things. And
But
you hear like giggling and stuff inside of there, but I don't know. But right, and right about this point too, you see another one. Like Stripe kind of laughs, and then he hides away in the snow, and you see another gremlin messing with the street lights.
yeah,
Just
Stripe doesn't actually do that much. I think Stripe's whole thing is to just make sure that the gremlins keep surviving.
yeah, keep
You
striving,
know,
keep
like
doing
he's not really
chaos.
doing that much chaos himself. I feel like he's just
Hmm.
making sure that enough gremlins around to do the chaos for him.
Yeah, he's just reveling in the destruction. He's like, yes, do more, my
Yeah,
kindred.
yeah, yeah. Kind of like summoning the flying monkeys or something.
Yeah, because
I don't know.
they're just going to town, dude. They are reveling in their destruction. They're turning the red lights all green at the same time. People are crashing. They're messing with brake lines.
Oh, that's right. They cut the sheriff's brake lines, don't they?
Yeah, they do, because that's when they're now like going out because they heard about the Futtermans. They're gonna go look out, and they're seeing just chaos in the streets, and they are driving through, and this is like kind of like an intersection of where Mrs. Deagle gets hers. Mrs. Deagle is like hanging out with her million cats, which of course she has a bunch of cats. And she hears the Christmas carolers, but they're not Christmas carolers. This is, I think, where you start seeing the Gremlins have started wearing clothes. They started to wear like little outfits and stuff.
Yeah,
Cause,
you do. With the carolers.
Cause
And
she,
I can't remember if they were saying anything. Probably just gremlin gibberish.
it was just gremlin gibberish. It's like one's just going, yeah, 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 yeah.
Perfect.
She's about to dump water on him because
Which is
that's how
kind of
she handles.
fucked.
Yeah.
Like, I thought
Christmas
about that, it was
carols.
like, yeesh.
What a horrible person is gonna dump cold water on freaking people out in the snow who just want to sing Christmas carols.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. And honestly, the funny thing, she doesn't throw the water on them, but if she did, that would have made it even worse.
Yeah. But they they mess with her little chair that carries her up the stairs, and it just rockets her ass out of the freaking building.
Yeah, dude, how many floors were in that house? It felt like they were going forever. Like,
Yeah. She's, she's like, oh my heart. And then she just gets
yeah,
launched, dude, and the cops are over there and they're like, they saw her just get launched out the window and they go, what was that? I think that's Mrs. Deagle.
yeah. I think that's actually while that's happening is when you see them messing with the brakes. I think.
Yep, you see them messing with the brakes because
No brakes. No brakes.
they're also watching Santa Claus, like a guy dressed up as Santa, getting attacked, like gang, get her like ganged up on by a whole bunch of Gremlins, and they don't do anything about it. Like the cops do have guns, you know.
Yeah. Well,
That-
they're too drunk to do it. They just drive off.
They're like, I want to go
And
back
did
to
they
the
get it?
station.
Is that when they? Oh wait, no, yeah, they drive off and he's kind of trying to go to the station. I think we get cut off to they go to oh that kid from the Goonies. Man, I can't remember why I don't remember his name right now.
Oh, Corey Feldman, right?
Yeah. He's like defending the house with a slingshot,
Yeah, and he's
old
actually
school kid style.
yeah.
What are you gonna say?
No, he was actually like putting up a good fight. He was kind of keeping the gremlins away. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, cuts one of them off the
The lights, because one's just
yeah.
hanging up there, and he clips it down.
Yeah, yeah. And then I think we go back to the cops, and then that's when like some truck goes in front of them. And of course they hit the brakes, but as you know, wild card, bitches.
No, brakes! Guys, why aren't the brakes working?
Because I cut the brakes! Wild card, bitches! Yeah!
What?
Like,
Yeah, there are no brakes.
no brakes. Freaking Fern Gully style, but yeah. So the car their cop car completely flips, which I didn't even understand how that worked.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
because they didn't want to run into the truck, so they like yanked the wheel to the right, but then the car does a full like in-air flip. I don't understand how that the physics on that one. Create some serious ice on that. I don't know.
I know. Yeah, they had a little ramp on that truck or something, but it was
Yeah, a
like,
little ice ramp.
but
Uh,
just more
uh,
chaos of the town, and this is
yeah,
Billy.
that's all that is.
Billy gets into his car, and it starts up right away. The one car that isn't messed with, and it's his. The one time it starts right up, and he's all
Yeah,
happy
that's right.
about
The foreign car, and it's the irony of it. It's not. Well, I don't even know if it's ironic, but like he didn't need it that morning. He thought he did, but he didn't. He showed that he didn't need it. But then when he did really need it, it's right there. You know.
it worked for him, and
Yeah, it
that's
almost breaks the whole Gremlins thing. You know
yeah.
that the Gremlins messed with the car because I mean, there's all these Gremlins things, and yet they didn't mess with his foreign car.
Maybe they fixed his car even.
Right.
They're
Maybe
like,
they only mess with American cars, like the
Yeah.
Kentucky whatever.
Yeah. They're like, this is gonna piss off the neighbor when if he's still alive and he sees that this car is totally working, he's gonna be so mad.
Exactly.
But you get to hear the radio though too.
Oh, that's right, Rockin' Ricky.
Hey, you're not
Our
a Rockin'
Indiana
Ricky.
Jones. Our Indiana Jones wannabe.
Yeah. It's like, hey, you're not a Rockin' Ricky fan. You hear the Gremlins breaking in.
This is Xmas. Oh, this is Christmas, not Halloween. You know.
Yeah.
And he's sick of all that Orson Welles crap. And then that's when we talk about that reference to War of the Worlds, that
Mm-hmm.
H.G. Wells or whatever. You know.
Yeah.
1938. That's right, 1938. Also, I found out that Orson Welles died in 1985, which is like a year after this movie was made.
Oh, nice. Maybe he got to see it before he died.
Right? Maybe the Gremlins got him.
Maybe the Gremlins.
No.
They heard his name and they're like, "That's our next target."
next target, Gremlins 2. I don't know. I haven't seen that one in forever. We should do
Oh,
Gremlins
God.
2 one of these days.
Oh, we should. We should.
Anywho, but yeah, he gets attacked over the radio, and that actually kind of made me feel a lot because as they obviously reference the whole Orson Welles thing. It's just like that. You know, you're just hearing this destruction on the radio, and is it a hoax or is it real? You know,
The hysteria.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly what that is.
Yeah, because he's definitely not buying into it until he sees them breaking into his window.
Yeah. Well,
I love that line. Hey, you're not a Rockin' Ricky fan.
Right? You don't know me. No. Yeah.
They're super fans.
Right?
You're hearing
Very
scream.
niche group of fans. The biggest fans.
And you get the little bit of a cutback. I think this is where his dad's in the gas station now, and he has like he's trying to
Yep, the mobile.
yeah, trying to sell the smokeless ashtray to that guy.
Which I'm pretty sure smokeless ashtrays are a real thing, like nowadays.
I don't smoke enough to use one, so
I'm pretty sure smokeless ashtrays do exist, like nowadays. So this goes back to us talking about him being right on the cusp
yeah, he was on
of his inventions. But we also see that like when I think this is later on, but like when he's leaving that gas station, that smokeless ashtray's like smoking like crazy, like it's practically on fire. Like,
that guy was coughing up a storm too.
yeah, that's right. The smoker couldn't handle that much smoke coming off of it, and it just goes back to that whole like the one function this thing was supposed to have.
Yeah,
Smokeless ashtray is smoking like crazy. Yeah. It'll go out eventually. Like,
but after that brief little show of him, this is where we get to see the bar. And speaking of smoking, you get to see all the gremlins, and they're all wearing different costumes and stuff, and one of them's got 3 cigarettes in his mouth.
I think the bartender's trying to light them at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get an array of like characters and like you're talking different outfits, which makes them individual and unique, gives them a little bit of personality.
Absolutely.
And kind of what they're thinking. And I haven't seen. I think I saw Gremlins 2 a long time ago. But I remember in that one they do go way more into like the personalities of the individual gremlins.
Yeah, because like there was like a smart one, there was like a spider one, there was like a girl one.
Yeah. There's kind of a girl one in the bar scene.
Oh yeah,
I don't know. That was with Stripe. That was hanging on Stripe, and I think she like whispers to him, and Stripe ends up shooting just straight up.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of cards they were playing, but Stripe didn't like what that guy had. He didn't.
Not at all.
He's like,
exactly. Dude, there was a flasher gremlin.
The flasher one with the sunglasses and the trench coat.
Yeah, and the cigarette again. These are the chain smoking gremlins.
Dude, they love beer. They love junk food. They love cigarettes.
Yeah. But yeah, that flasher. And there was no gremlin dong though. Way to disappoint.
Steven Spielberg
Flasher gremlin.
He's like, well, we're not going for the R rating. We're not going for the R rating. We can't put the wiener in there.
But it's funny too, because I'm pretty sure like 19, because there is that like some of those gaps. I think there's some like 1980s ish movies that are like PG that show like boobs. And stuff like that. But no dong. No gremlin dong.
No gremlin dong. Can't have.
Apparently not.
The world's not ready for that. You want that, you have to go to Tumblr.
Right. Although it makes sense though, they do reproduce asexually, but a gremlin you think would just fuck for pleasure,
Yeah, because they're just crazy, debaucherous creatures.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, absolute freaking madness going on in this bar, video games. The pool table is a mess of like breaking beer bottles, spilling popcorn all over. I don't even think they're actually playing pool. I don't know what the hell they're doing.
They're just hitting it. They have like the loner gremlin and then there's one that just starts dancing like freaking.
Oh, that was like jazzercise or whatever, aerobics, like that 1980s aerobics thing. Pretty big at the time.
Found some jazzercise activewear in its size.
Yeah. But yeah, right. We got that loner. I don't know. I can't remember if they had jazz or something going on in the background with him or what.
Yeah. Momentarily, they switched over the radio and it played some jazz. And
yeah, that's right. Yeah, and it cut to him. And then that was the other group was like mocking him with the puppet, like I don't know if it's his loneliness or what, like.
Yeah, I was like, is this a reference to another movie? I don't get it.
I don't know this one. Oh, don't worry, like some kind of like trying to be a fake love interest for like half a second with the puppets. I don't know. He just starts laughing and like that crazy chuckle they have.
And you get more of those
Oh.
Three Stooges sound effects because he clobbers that one over the head with a hammer. Like,
Yeah, like a big old mallet. Freaking. Yeah, I think one of them's like picking their nose. I
oh,
think
big
it's you
boogie.
big old gremlin bug. But I think that's when we end up seeing the one with the 3 cigs, and the bartender's trying to light it, and he's like kind of like freaking out not freaking out. I'm trying to remember. He's like scared, I think,
Yeah, he like backs. He's like
of
recoiling
the
from it.
fire, of the match fire.
Now, see, I would have deduced. Like, I wouldn't have been like her. I would have just been like, oh, they're afraid of fire. But she immediately figures out that it's light. It's bright light that they don't
It's the
like.
light. It's not the
The light.
fire itself. Although they are not, they're not immune to fire either, as we see later on. But
Yeah, very, very true.
but it's the light that's the main thing that's getting it. That's when she busts out that Polaroid.
Oh yeah, and she's snapping pictures of them and
Yeah,
blinding
I
them.
don't know if that actually defeated them.
No,
Like killed them.
It made them back off though.
Yeah, they like fell. Oh, it all fall back and probably be in a daze or something.
And she's trying to escape now because she knows now she can escape because she's just been giving them beers to keep them from like
Killing
murdering
her.
her.
Yeah. She's like, yeah, here's beer, Yeah, I'll light your cigarettes. This is a fucking madhouse, but I'm alive in it.
But
And
the
go on.
the mugger one was there.
Oh, that's right. And that's when her Polaroid fails her. She runs out of film or flash or whatever.
Yeah, because that was the first time I saw any of them use a gun so far.
I think Stripe when he shot that.
Oh no, he did use a gun earlier. He did. Yeah, he
Unless
shot that.
that was a
freaking...
later scene. I think that was that scene though. I think we see Stripe
you're
with the
right,
gun, and then
you're
we
right.
see the burglar one, or it could have been after. I can't remember.
No,
But
you're right. You're right. He did shoot that one before she tried to escape. So yeah, but they
yeah.
clearly been using. They can use guns, and they got some engineering talent. They know how tools work. So freaking, she gets saved by Billy by his headlights peeking through, and they all escape to go hide out. So I think the car stops working there, but
Yeah, the car doesn't work. I know Stripe noticed all this stuff.
mm-hmm.
I also got that ceiling fan death, I think, during all that
Yeah,
chaos.
she clicked on the fan to go even faster.
That's right.
Launched him into the freaking sign, and his head stuck to it. Like,
Yeah, that was a pretty good one. And they hit a pic of an old plane, and I know that plane had some kind of an Easter egg. I think.
Yeah, it was like
A World War II plane. Exactly. And also, they also did a reference when on that stair scene way back when Mrs. Deagle dies or whatever. Mm-hmm. They have that one picture go down, and that's an Easter egg too. But unfortunately, guys, I can't remember what that is too.
I can't remember it either.
I can't remember if it's like a director or something, or a writer or an author. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
But that is all. But anywho, yeah, they end up having to ditch the car, and they're throwing like pool balls at the car. So the Gremlins are still very much there. So I think you're right. They didn't die per se. I think they're just now starting to come back, actually.
Yeah, and they're pissed. They want their bartender back.
Yes.
But they managed to hide out from the chaos, though.
Yeah.
Sorry, were you gonna say something there? I didn't.
No. They I know that they closed one because all the chaos is going on in the town, and we're seeing it's not just in the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's all out. I think there's a gremlin in the hood of someone else's car.
Oh yeah, and just messing with
doing gremlin shit. Yeah, doing gremlin bullshit. Yeah. And they like slam his head on the car or something. I think on the hood.
Oh yeah.
Just close the hood on him or something. I think they run into. Where did they run into? The building. Was it his house? Was it Billy's house? Was it a different place? I was a little confused.
I think it was.
I was a little confused.
Because they're still in town when they pop out again. So I think it was just one of the shops that didn't have anything interesting to destroy there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they were already there, is what they said.
Yeah, they already destroyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, they already moved on. And they actually almost kind of scare you a little bit because there's that little movement in the background of something, but it ends up just being Gizmo.
Yeah, Gizmo's just being cute.
Yeah, just being Gizmo, doing his little cute stuff. But
Yeah.
this is actually this scene. Even though they set us up for this scene, it felt a little out of place. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, because you get to see her tragic backstory.
Yeah, this is when we get what's her name, Kate.
Kate, yeah.
Yeah, we get Kate's tragic backstory.
Yeah, and she's like, it's a pretty fucked up way to find out there's no Santa Claus, because her, yeah. Do you
Do you
want to
want to
get to
tell
this
the
one?
story, or you
Oh,
want me to, or what do you want?
you should go for it. I didn't know too much about it.
Okay. I got it down a little bit. I know that on Christmas Eve, like her and her mom were like decorating like the tree, waiting for the dad to come home, and he never came home. You know, called the police. They searched, and there was like one cold night, probably like 4 or 5 days later or something. I can't remember. And she lights a fire under the chimney, and then she starts to notice the smell. Yeesh,
Yeah.
And the firemen broke the chimney. They were hoping it was going to be like birds or like dead animals, that got in there. Of course, it ends up being her dad in a Santa outfit with like arms loaded with presents.
Oh yeah.
Just like
Oh,
and
Dad.
they said, yeah, pretty much. They said he slipped and broke his neck, and he died instantly. And that's when she said that's how she found out there was no Santa.
This is a pretty fucked up way to find that out. Like through all this chaos and kind of like chaotic humor going on, they just drop us with that, and I was like, oh, Jesus.
Yeesh. Yeah, it was pretty sad, tragic backstory. Makes sense why she's so bitter about Christmas, because every time she's thinking about her dad,
Mm-hmm.
and how I don't know, it's a lot. It's dark. Even for this movie, it's a dark, kind of a darker turn.
Yeah. And then right after that, they wait out the chaos, and then they come out, and all the gremlins are gone. And what are they doing? They're in the theater, and
Well,
they're
before
what?
they go to the theater, we get like that really pretty Christmassy stroll. Like I think that was probably the most Christmassy moment of the whole movie.
Oh yeah. Because they're
Sorry, just real quick. They're strolling through it. The town's like empty, and they're kind of like, "Where's
really
all the freaking
quiet.
gremlins?"
Yeah.
It was just so crazy. But like a minute ago, and now it's just dead silent. That dead winter air.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of romantic. It's peaceful.
Yeah.
And that's when they find out that they're all at the movie theater.
They're all at the movie theater where they have a bunch of junk food. They're all sitting up, and some of the gremlins are trying to figure out how the projector works, and the other ones are just destroying it, like the other one.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I don't really have much to say about it other than just like one getting caught. Like one gets caught in it and just gets spun like crazy. It's a miracle they got that movie to work.
Yeah, the other ones
Like
are like, hey, can we work on this, guys? Guys, okay, you're just gonna fuck around? Okay, well, we're gonna start the movie.
Right. They're playing Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
And they love it. They love.
Yeah, well, they love it, but so did Hitler and Walt Disney. So.
Yeah. They're all singing along to it. Hi ho, hi ho, hi ho, hi. Yeah, it's pretty funny actually.
They're enjoying it. I don't know.
But immediately, like Billy's kind of noticing they're just kind of like little. I don't know. They're kind of like murderous, little monstrous children. They just love junk food and mischief, and apparently kids movies. So
yeah, the entertainment in general. I mean, we kind of saw Gizmo being entertained very much.
Yeah, he was singing along to it a little bit, like.
Yeah, so it makes sense.
But he immediately thinks we got to blow this place up.
Yeah,
goes to the boiler room.
We actually get a lot of cool different gremlins in that one too, in that whole scene with the theater. I don't really have any of them written down, I don't think. Except there's one with Mickey Mouse ears.
Yeah, one with Mickey Mouse ears. They'd use the popcorn buckets as like hats and helmets and stuff.
Yeah, they have eye holes cut out in them.
But you also
Yeah,
see that Stripe is escaping his fate by going off to go get more junk food because all the other ones have pillaged and
raided
pilfered.
the
Yeah,
concession stand.
yeah. So he goes and
So
he's like a little ADHD child sees freaking candy and immediately starts
yeah,
going to that across the street.
yeah, the department store or something.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah, um, but yeah, that's when I think that's when we see him messing with the boiler, right?
yeah, and he pulls off the gas valve and he starts they set it up to explode, so he lights the rag and Gizmo's just being cute, you know. He goes like, "Uh-oh," when he sees that the film stops playing and that they can see their silhouettes through the other
Like
side. And
on the other side of the theater, yeah, of the
yeah,
screen.
I thought that was such a cool scene though, is when you see all the gremlins start to gang up and you see their shadows, their silhouettes coming up to the screen and start ripping it down.
Clawing, yeah.
It was a really cool shot there. Um, but they run away and they escape and they blow it up and you see that everything's on fire in there and there's going to be a secondary explosion, but they show kind of the chaos in there and there's one that's like a surgeon gremlin. I just thought he was neat.
Yeah, the mask. I couldn't tell because the pandemic. Really.
Yeah, he was just ahead of his time.
Yeah, I'm like, this guy's that's pretty funny. But yeah, we get that. Honestly, the whole scene with them like in the theater and it catches on fire. I'm also wondering if that Gremlin scene inspired later on Inglorious Bastards. It reminded me a lot of the ending of Inglorious Bastards a little
Oh,
bit.
did it? It is kind of like
Just all the Nazis, these evil things, all in the theater, and they lock him in, and that one I think they light it on fire, but it's still just this fire, these explosions.
yeah, yeah.
I
It
don't know.
was
Kind of reminded me of that a little bit
really knocked out the main knocked out pretty much all the gremlins in one blow.
because they were all there. Because I think when they were doing that midnight stroll with like Silent Night playing and whatever in the background, I think they said that the sun was going to rise soon and that they're probably going somewhere dark,
Oh
which would be
yeah.
a movie theater, right?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a really good point. I didn't
Yeah.
think of that. That is something that they're kind of like in a nest there because they had all the junk food there and they had a little dark area where they could watch a movie and just kind of observe
Wait.
some chaos instead of cause it, you know? Wait for
Pretty
the next
much,
part.
pretty much.
But
Although they were still causing chaos in that theater, like even
oh
just
yeah.
sitting down, it was a
Yeah.
madhouse in there.
It was a madhouse, such a mess and they're just
Yeah, I felt.
destroying shit, hanging from the rafters.
Yeah, popcorn like buckets just flying everywhere. Um. I think when that explosion goes off, Stripe sees that from
Oh
across
yeah.
the street.
Drops his licorice in his mouth.
Is that what he was eating? I can't
Yeah.
remember. I just know he had a bunch of candy.
His arms
He had
loaded with
licorice,
candy.
red or black.
Well, the red ones, of course.
Rope or Twizzler. I don't know,
I don't know.
but yeah, he sees them. I think he goes into the store, and Will ends up using or Bill. I have him down as Will because of that. I told you guys because of that. His little banker identification thing, but Bill,
Yeah.
little Billy,
Billy.
uses one of those lawnmowers, like the fake toy lawnmowers, the little bubble pop
Yeah. Yeah, to break
lawnmowers.
he doesn't want to use the door. He just breaks down the glass.
Well, it was already broken into, and we kind of saw that with the door originally at the YMCA. It was already broken, and he just kind of re-broke in, and they do that with that. But
Yeah.
they're looking for Stripe, who's getting away on a skateboard.
Oh yeah, and he's doing yep 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 yep.
Yep, no, and I think we get Gizmo in the backpack, which was super cute.
Super cute as always. Gizmo
As always.
just being Gizmo.
Yeah,
And
great call by Steven Spielberg. Like I was saying, Gizmo was originally supposed to turn into Stripe.
yeah.
And it was a good call that he did because we do get like these nice wholesome moments amongst all the chaos, like these cute little aw. Because you don't get much awe in the movie that's not Gizmo.
Yeah, exactly. And while Billy's looking for Stripe, where he's armed with a baseball bat, and Stripe's hiding. And this is our second that I remember. E.T. little Easter egg there, because Stripe is doing the same thing that E.T. did in the closet, where he's hiding amongst a bunch of little plushies.
Yep.
And of course, there's an E.T. plushie that Stripe's hiding right behind.
Yeah, in between a Bugs Bunny and a Sylvester the cat
Oh
from
yeah,
Looney
yeah.
Tunes. Which Looney Tunes? We were talking Looney Tunes earlier. I think you mentioned Looney Tunes.
Like
Guarantee
there's
Looney Tunes was a huge inspiration for Gremlins.
Oh yeah, just with how chaotic and the sound effects. The sound effects were like straight out of Looney Tunes.
Yeah, even Gizmo blinking. Like they did that. Like I don't know. It's hard to explain. Just that like Looney Tune sound effects. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely with the Gremlins, that chaotic. I keep saying chaotic. I need to stop doing that. But that's what it is. It's madness. It's absolute.
They really are just agents
Yeah.
of chaos.
Yeah. Indeed. Um.
But
Just kind of like a living entity of like the Fight Cloud. Or
yeah, yeah.
something. Just this wad of whatever gets in its way, it's gonna destroy. Like a tornado.
Mm-hmm. But it's now time. Billy's got to square up to Stripe, and Stripe's got all of his tricks. He's using freaking the pitching machines, this little tricycle. He's got a friggin' chainsaw. Dude, he has a chainsaw, and I honestly thought Stripe looked really cool with the chainsaw.
It
It was
was
kind of
badass.
menacing. Yeah. But Kate's messing with the electronics and trying to get the lights on to mess with Stripe. And that's what saves Billy, because Billy's just fending himself off while Stripe's tearing away at that baseball bat, you know.
Yeah, but also her messing with those switches and stuff is what turned on the water fountain.
Oh yeah, she did. She did. The glub glub.
Glub glub.
But when she gets the lights on, it blinds him for a moment, and he gets dragged. I thought it was kind of funny the way he kind of just gets dragged off by his chainsaw, because the
I know. I
chainsaw's
thought. Go on.
the
It gets
chainsaw's
pulled. Go on.
yeah, just gets pulled away.
Yeah, I thought that was funny and clever.
Mm,
It's a little getaway, an unexpected getaway.
yeah,
It goes all the way till he runs out of cord too.
yeah. All the way until he runs out of cord, because I'm pretty sure Billy was gonna smash him with half a baseball bat if he was still there.
Yeah, I thought that bat was aluminum until like they cut back to it and there's like just whole wooden chunks missing out of it.
Yeah, dude, I thought that was aluminum too, because it was like
Well,
a black
the first
baseball bat.
initial impact when he first puts the chainsaw blade on the bat, it acts like it's going against like a harder substance like metal or something. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it was quark. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that baseball bat, what it's made of, but. But I think it's a wooden bat, and like you said, it's like half of one. And we get Gizmo driving the little RC car, being cute Gizmo every freaking time.
He's going off to be a hero. I loved it. I was here for
Yeah.
it. I remember as a little kid, I got chills from that. I was like, oh, he's doing it. He's reliving that movie that he was watching, where he's the race car driver.
Oh, I didn't even put that together. Nice. He is living the race car dream. Nice.
Yeah. And this is where Stripe sees the fountain come on or is on, and he's like, he calls it glub glub, and then he's like, he does say water, and then he says gun when he sees the gun.
Yeah, dude, the dog's there like shows up. That confused the crap out of me.
Yeah, I was like, I remember the dog being there, but then I kept on trying to remember, why was the dog there?
When did the dog come with them to the department store? He was not there in the theater.
Yeah, I think he was with his dad.
Yeah, maybe. And the dog found him first.
Yeah, and shit, this is where And this is where a lot happens pretty fast. But like, he's up there, Stripe is up there shooting at Billy, kind of has him at gunpoint, and then he sees Gizmo, and of course he gets one last Gizmo caca out, before Gizmo shines the light on him to probably the goriest death scene in this movie, and probably pretty high up there in a lot of movies, honestly, because Stripe
Like
gets it
melting.
bad. Yeah, you see the layers of him melting off. It is brutal.
Yeah, I mean, he literally goes down because he just he falls into that water, and you're expecting him to still more to still come out or something.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if he's still going to reproduce or not, and then freaking like a skeleton jumps out at him.
Mm-hmm. No muscles
You
or
know,
anything, but he throws that.
yeah.
His
Well, he had like
last.
one last muscle and used that to just leap, right at him. It's kind of Gizmo got the last kill.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of interesting and the coolest kill, like you said.
The coolest kill, and like when Stripe is dying, they have like they kind of like play it off with the Gremlins theme, but a more somber version, showing that the party's kind of over. The chaos is kind of ended, and I kind of liked that.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
is almost kind of sad because the movie's ending, but like, man, he gets, dude, that was pretty graphic the way he dies. Like,
Yeah, he just the layers, like you said, turns into a puddle, which again reminds me of Wizard of Oz. When he first stuck his, okay, I want to backtrack just a second because there is a thing like when he goes up to the fountain, he's got water covered in him,
mm-hmm.
and he's not reproducing, like getting ready to reproduce yet.
Well,
Even though
he's
he's like
got the little bulges on his back were starting to
no,
form.
well, I think he did after he like shoves his finger in the fountain, and his
Oh
finger
yeah.
glows, which makes when he shoves it in that fountain. I don't know if it's a light or a full-on another ET reference. I'm not sure, but he puts his finger in there and it glows. But before he puts his finger in the fountain's splashing on him. You can see like moisture dripping off of him.
Oh
And
yeah.
then it was
Yep.
like after he shoves his finger in it that he starts growing him on his back. Kind of like a
Yeah.
frog or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it was kind of nasty the way the gremlin part had it pop off. It wasn't cute like.
Well, it's not hidden under fur. You just
Yeah.
see these like lumps of almost cancer or something.
Yeah.
Pimples, cysts, something.
Yeah, they look like cysts, and then, but after that,
Yeah,
it's all over. His
yeah.
dad
After he gets
shows up.
Wizard of Oz,
Yeah, yeah, he gets the wicked witch of the wicked witch of the West treatment.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I think we get cut to like a Christmas tree, and they're watching like the news, like him and his like Billy and his
mhm.
family.
Yeah, and the news anchor is saying it's all being blamed on mass hysteria, and I think you do
Going back
hear.
to that World War of the Worlds thing, man.
Yeah, I
100%.
I think there was also a playoff too where you have Rock and Ricky talking about how he survived and how the Marines are coming out with fire hoses, And I was like, "Oh, that's not a good idea." I'm glad they.
Right?
But you
Oh.
also that news anchor does also bring up that they're gonna go get a statement from the Fudermans in the hospital, and we all know what that guy's gonna say.
Never gonna hear the end of it.
I was right. I was right.
No one's gonna believe him. He's just that crazy guy again,
Yeah, yeah. Um,
who got a freak accident and blamed it on the Gremlins because it was a mechanical error on his frickin' on his snowplow.
mhm. And
Um.
the old man returns, and the old man from Chinatown returns, and
Oh, I just want to say real quick before we
oh,
get
go ahead,
there.
go ahead.
I noticed this was my last time watching it that they actually tell us a little backstory on Mrs. Deagle.
Oh yeah,
On the radio or the TV I think or whatever they talk
yeah,
about the news. They were talking about how that Mrs. Deagle died,
yeah.
and that she was the widow of a convicted stock swindler, Donald Deagle.
Donald Deagle.
So that's why she's like alone and like a cat lady who hates dogs. I guess her husband's convicted, but all it says she's a widow. So he must have died in prison. I don't know. They were a little older. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or he ripped off some of the people in prison of stocks.
He's doing trading from prison.
Right.
But
Cigarette market's off the charts. But
well, the old man comes up and he's like super kind of like he has every reason to be mad, you know? But he's kind of like really respectful the way he reprimands them. It's like, I don't know, he just seems so cool, like the way
they
he's
feel
like,
about it. Well, because like the Billy's dad says that that guy's the guy who's he bought who sold him the Mogwai, and he's just like, interesting choice of words,
very interesting choice of words.
Very good. Exactly. That's exactly how he says it, and it's like he's not saying that that's not what happened, but he also knows that's not what happened.
Yeah.
He's politely, nodding in a way.
Yeah. He's not shoving it in their face because they know that they fucked up, and he's like, you have done what your society has done with all of nature's gifts. I thought that was really kind of a cool line.
Yeah, no, he had actually, because he did have very much dialogue in that whole thing.
Yeah, but when he does talk, I really liked it. It was always something you wanted to listen to.
Yeah, absolutely. And even speaking of listening, I think my favorite line from him. Well, I don't want to jump a little too much ahead because they,
No, go ahead.
like you said, they talk about how they're not ready.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that while he's leaving, he's like almost talking to Gizmo.
Yeah.
He did that a little earlier in Cantonese or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And go on.
Yeah, he's talking to Gizmo and taking him with him, and then he says, "You're not ready." And then he looks at Billy and he says, "Maybe, or perhaps someday, he may be ready." And I thought that was really cool. It kind of showed a little bit of his arc, which we'll get to the arcs in a little bit. I do have a little section to talk about it, but
Cool. Yeah, well, I was just gonna say that my favorite before right when he's leaving, he like it's like Gizmo and him are talking or whatever. The older man, the Chinese guy, and uh Billy says, something like, you can understand what he's saying, and he's just like, to hear, one only has to listen. And I thought that was pretty strong, simple but powerful philosophy.
yeah,
Like,
'cause
you could talk to him the whole time if you just took the time to listen to him, and understand him, feel him, or whatever else. Get the gist of him.
yeah,
We talk about how most language is body language, and
yeah,
you
and I
don't need words for that.
and I like that too because it does. The way you said that too makes me think of like all the times that Gizmo did kind of like he didn't really see maybe a lot of this coming, but like a lot of Gizmo's instincts were like when he offered him the food, he said, "No, no, thank you." And if he maybe listened to Gizmo on that, maybe he wouldn't have fed him, like maybe if he kind of would have asked him or something, I maybe not, maybe then we wouldn't have a movie, but uh, it was really kind of cool to see that.
Yeah, we even got right after that whole listening thing, freaking Gizmo. We get Gizmo talking for 2 words and says, "Bye, Billy."
Bye, Billy. I thought that was real
Yeah,
cute. And then
yeah, it was cute. I
he
even actually
leaves.
have in my notes, cute as fuck.
Cute as fuck. Cute as fuck. Gizmo's a win every time.
Yeah,
But
every time. Like I
but
say, like you're saying, it's like a like a before Grogu thing, and I feel like Grogu probably got like a lot of inspiration from that cuteness that you get from Gizmo in this movie.
yeah. And then it kind of this is the end of the movie, so they have the outro where
the dad gives the Chinese guy the fucking smokeless ashtray.
oh God, yes. And it sounds like this is some mystical Chinese, old man wisdom, but he's like trying to give him the smokeless ashtray, and he's like, "How did you know? I was gonna give this to you," and he goes, "Man at gas
Or
station tried to sell it to me."
yeah, but even after that, and this just like the kindness, the humbleness
hmm
of this wise old man. Rather than ripping on it, he accepts the gift. He's like,
Yeah.
it's the latest word in technology, very generous of you, and I'm sure it'll come in handy. Like, and he
hmm
just takes that humbly. And then he
Yeah.
walks into like the moonlit distance. I was thinking about that, like,
hmm
like
Yeah.
where's he going? Because they're in this small town, but his dad was in Chinatown.
hmm
So where the hell is this old man? This old man's got a long cold walk ahead of him.
Yeah, he walked all the way down to from Chinatown, and he's gonna walk all the way back.
That's what it seemed like. Knows the Gremlins are gonna mess with his car, so.
hmm Yeah, and
uh,
I like the outro too, because I mean he does do the father takes the outro and he's like, "You may have gremlins in your house, turn on all the lights and all that," but it's over this matte painting kind of look that I really liked. Kind of has a little bit of that magic still
yeah,
by the end of the
they
movie.
they did give that. Sorry, they did give that magical, that
hmm
kind of like. God, you explained that very well, because it's just like, if your air conditioner or your washer machine blows up,
hmm
or I think he says, or if your video recorder conks out, which I thought conk was an interesting word.
Yeah.
Before you call a repairman, and that's what he starts talking about. Basically like look under the bed, turn on the lights, check your closets.
hmm
'Cause you never can tell, there just might be a gremlin in your house, and then that kind of gives that kind of myth, the legend, like from this movie into your own mind in your own house.
hmm
And
Yeah.
so I don't know. I thought that was really, really cool storytelling, and I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. It was really precious. And honestly, I think that kind of sums up a lot of what I feel about this movie is that, yeah, nostalgia does definitely play a part for me of how much I enjoy this movie. But I think if I want to show this to my kids, when I have them, and I think that the magic is still in this movie and that it could be enjoyed for generations.
Absolutely. I got to watch it with my mom and my daughter, and that was really cool to kind of have that intergeneration. I mean, we got three generations going right there,
hmm
enjoying Gremlins together still in 2023, you
Yeah.
know, from a movie from 1984. So,
Yeah, I don't think this movie's ever going to be too outdated because the effects that they use, yeah, the stop motion does kind of like make it look not real, but it's
yeah,
it's
that was a little hard in some parts.
yeah, but like I could still buy into it, and accept it. I get immersed into the movie. The puppeteering was amazing. For a long time I was just like I just didn't know how they did it. Like how they did the
A long
Gremlins.
strand of wires. And they still kind of do that for Grogu today in The Mandalorian, with that similar mechanical
mhm.
puppeteering.
hmm Which is smart. I think that more movies should try to do that rather than rely on CG. Because, I mean, if they use CG in this movie, it would be much worse. Like, it would definitely not stand up today. Like, it'd be
Yeah,
really
no,
bad.
for sure.
But I guess in the
Yeah, no,
80s it
physical
would.
effects do tend to age a little better, even though they
hmm
start rougher, if that makes sense.
hmm But they put a lot of work into making those creatures feel real because they felt like you could touch them.
Oh
And I think
yeah, you think
um,
what?
and I think, well, I mean, a lot of that puppeteering and that kind of the creature, how well it sold, it inspired many other movies to kind of rip it off, and others that just kind of took inspiration from it. But like, you got countless movies that are kind of ripoffs of Gremlins.
Yeah, dude, we mentioned like 4 or 5 movies that have inspiration to Gremlins, and we mentioned like 2 or 3 movies that inspired Gremlins itself. And so we're seeing like generations upon generations of movie making
Mhm.
kind of feeding itself.
Yeah, like they had Ghoulies, Critters, and Munchies. And Critters, I think, like also was kind of like an inspiration for like Ratchet and Clank Going Commando's little monster uh, that they have in it, the prototype creature, which they pretty much look exactly the same as the
Hmm.
Critters. Kind of behave, I think, similarly too. But they inspired a lot of these movies. I think Ghoulies did come out pretty like they were filmed around the same time, but Ghoulies I think kind of did take its own spin, but like it's still you could feel like this Gremlins did everything Ghoulies did but better and had more of a heart to it.
Yeah. We're
Yeah.
talking about Overlord and Overlord 2, you know?
Oh, yes. Which those guys are basically Gremlins in that
Yes,
game.
exactly. They're
Like
100%.
100% Gremlins. They're little agents of chaos, and they even adopt like the little outfits and stuff when you get your goblins some more clothing and armor and stuff. Some of them wear pumpkins on their head and stuff like. And I remember too they were singing Christmas carols at one point, like in
Were
that
they?
game. Yeah,
For some reason, I don't remember the Christmas carols. That's funny.
yeah.
No, that's perfect. That's what it's got to be a Gremlins inspiration.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know, what if you got to be the leader of the Gremlins? You know, you got to
Yeah.
be Stripe or Mohawk or whatever.
Hmm. And I think we did talk about. I guess this is my next part of my notes. Is like we did talk a lot about the Gremlins just being little agents of chaos, but they're really pretty savvy with technology. They could figure out a lot of the way things worked. Especially just they didn't have to make it work properly because they just wanted to break shit. But like the fact that they were able to kind of put cause and effect together showed their intelligence and just how unique they were as like this mythological creature.
Yeah, magical even, you know.
Yeah, because when he says that they are one of nature's gifts, it kind of makes me think of these things are kind of like fairies. They're kind of like how we describe in older times fairies and stuff that would just kind of
Yeah,
cause mischief, and these are a more modern version of them.
yeah, absolutely. Well, that
Yeah.
was really good. I enjoyed watching it. I'm glad we did this.
Mhm. Yeah, man. Oh,
Um,
and one more thing too. When we kind of touched on a lot of this too was like all the inventions, the sword falling off, the car that never starts. It kind of seemed like they had gremlins in their house already.
it's
Like
so easy to blame him. Yeah,
yeah, little metaphorical, not the real gremlins, but like in the movie, but they
the
kind of had
scapegoat.
they had their own gremlins, kind of in their house. I thought that was pretty funny that they incorporated that kind of gremlin into their story too.
Absolutely. Great storytelling. It's poetry really, you know, that
Mhm.
kind of little bit. And that's what I love about I think movie mediums and stuff like just the art of it all. You
Mhm.
know. We talk about
Yeah.
these callbacks or music or I mean even down to lighting and everything else. You know, there's just so many mediums, you know, that you could enjoy all at once,
Mhm.
you know, and they
Yeah.
did really well, you know.
Yeah. I noticed where as far as character arcs go, I noticed this pretty like these characters still felt very human, even though a lot of the characters I felt were kind of static. They weren't really dynamic characters. Billy, his arcs kind of like to learn responsibility and to be ready, and stuff. But like he was already kind of responsible. Like he made mistakes and stuff, but it was never really him that was the cause of. Yeah, sure he should have taken all his paint supplies off the table if he's gonna have Gizmo there. Um, but they're lessons that he was learning throughout living with Gizmo.
Yeah,
Uh,
trial and error. He's trying to do better.
mm,
He's trying to do the right thing, you know.
yeah,
But it was
eh,
just too much responsibility for him.
yeah, and Kate didn't seem like she really had much of an arc other than just trusting Billy and revealing her story.
I didn't even know her name when we went into this.
Yeah, yeah.
And you had to look it up.
I had to look it up.
That's not good. Not a good sign
No.
for the love interest if no one knows her name.
Gizmo, I think, also kind of had an arc too, and he's not really in the movie a lot, but like he does kind of like he has these little fantasies about being heroic and just being a good mogwai, and being a good fella, and
Yeah, he even got offered to eat after midnight.
yeah.
Billy offered him to eat after midnight, and Gizmo intentionally said no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Gizmo finally culminates in his, being scared of the others that are kind of bullying him to kind of standing up to them and finally getting the final blow on Stripe. And he becomes heroic at that point. I really liked that.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. And great call with the racing.
yeah, yeah, and
Oh,
I don't think
go
the
on.
story is really hurt by the characters not really having big arcs. It was more the Gremlins were kind of the center of the story, and they were fun and chaotic, and it was just a blast to watch them. Great Christmas movie to have around. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I was gonna say that they because like the limited medium of movies, that is one of the limits, and that's I think why nowadays like miniseries are so
Mhm.
popular and
Mhm.
limited series and stuff like that because you have enough time to really delve into these characters. The movie, I mean, we have to go through the whole hero's arc or hero's journey, sorry, and within an hour and 40 minutes or something. I think this movie is like an hour and 40 minutes or something like that.
Mhm.
And so they did a lot of clever like things like the dad and the little Chinese boy, the grandson
Mhm.
of the guy that owns the Maogwai. There's like at least two different times where they talk about conversations that they had off screen.
Mhm.
Like I thought you told me everything in this place was for sale. They never said that on screen. And there was
Mhm.
a couple other things too, so they got to kind of play with that and go with it.
Yeah.
And same we talked about also with the dead. I thought he had a really good arc considering.
Oh yeah.
With yeah, just this guy chasing his dream against the odds. I mean, he
Mhm.
went to that convention and he's kind of a he feels a little bit like a sham or something. But like
Mhm.
when we see that moment you were talking about with the coffee machine, about him and
Mhm.
his wife like just laughing about it and
Yeah.
moving on. It really felt like they were a married couple and this is the norm.
Yeah, it was like a nice functional relationship, and I'd love to see more of those on TV and movies and stuff because they really movies like to show off the nasty relationships more and peddle them as being good relationships. I want to see more relationships where they're nice to each other, you know.
Yeah. Well, they were that conflicting drama, maybe some relatability because like so many movies, like older movies, are so like almost overly romanticized
Mhm.
that nowadays movies and audience members especially are wanting more maybe realistic or conflicting, not that
Mhm.
happily ever after, because that's not how it is. And I
Yeah.
think people want a little more realism and relatability in their movies. And I felt like a lot of the old, like I said, heavily romanticized arcs that most older
Mhm.
movies always played on.
Yeah.
I felt like most people had a hard. Maybe I think a lot of people, especially like over time and stuff, like realize that these are not realistic expectations to have, and they're honestly to some degree not even healthy to
Yeah.
expect this perfect happy ever after thing, with Prince Charming and whatnot.
Well, yeah, and
But
I agree where we romanticize and kind of fetishize the budding of romance and stuff, but it kind of bums me out that uh we don't ever really have we always have to sacrifice for drama, we always have to sacrifice
yeah,
a healthy relationship to show drama. And even like I think Stranger Things is a big offender with this, is like with Hopper and Joyce, like they don't have any chemistry together at all. Like, and yet they're kind of peddled as like this is what romance looks like. This is cute. And I'm like, no, it's not. They're mean to each other. They're not communicating and they're not being healthy.
No, not at all. Especially in comparison with Bob or Samwise Gamgee or freaking another Goonies character. Freaking golly gee, why can't I remember his name right now? Sean Astin?
Oh, Sean Astin. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
a
okay.
nice relationship.
Yeah, it was. It felt wholesome. Bob was a good man, you know.
Yeah.
He really was trying to connect. I mean, I know he was a little. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought he was a lot better fit for
Mhm.
Joyce than like you said, Hopper. Hopper did feel a little like pride or shoehorned. Shoehorned's the word. Shoehorned in there, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Like I hate where they try to say that these characters are fighting with each other a lot. It's because there's sexual tension, and I'm like, no, no, I don't. I haven't really ever fought with anyone before I got in a relationship with someone, and I don't think I
Right.
really wanna say that that's a good thing. you
Yeah,
know?
I also am not as huge of a fan of the love triangle they have going on with oh man, I'm so bad with names right now. With Jonathan, Nancy, and Steve the Hare Harrington.
Yeah.
Freaking, because like I felt like the her with Steve. I kind of get that. I kind of get that Steve still feels that a little bit. I don't like that Nancy is like forming this kind of like maybe what if love triangle, especially because they had like Jonathan like off screen like pretty much the entire season 4, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly.
Yeah. He's barely in the show.
Yeah, and they just they pulled him away so they can have that conflicting love interest with Steve.
Yeah. It's kind of.
And I felt like it was drama for drama's sake,
Mhm.
and that felt, like you're talking about, you're wanting a little bit of wholesome romance, and you don't get that in that for sure. Except for, like I said, I think Bob did a good job of that.
Mhm. Mhm. But anyway, you got anything more to say about Gremlins?
Yeah, I got a little bit more, but I'm pretty much done. So, um, the the YouTube channel Dead Meat,
Mhm.
they do kill counts, and they had the kill count here as 3 human kills. Which I thought that's where we were kind of talking. I was saying I was going to talk about this later because I thought that the professor died.
Yeah.
I thought that couple, the conspiracy guy and his wife, died.
Yeah.
The guy at the mailbox.
Guy at the mailbox?
What happened to him?
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
a
know.
little confused on what all the human deaths are, but according to them, and I take their word on it, there's 3 human kills and
Okay.
157 gremlin kills.
Yeah. Maybe that guy with the sea captain, maybe he has a hook now.
Right?
With the ensemble.
just go with it. Just really, just owning it.
I gotta say, for
Oh,
the 150 kills for the Gremlins
it's
was like
157 gremlin kills.
I gotta say, like, yeah, Billy and Kate probably killed the most, but I think the real MVP prize goes to Billy's mom because she was absolute savage. She,
She got the first kills, and the first 2 kills were absolutely more brutal than most of the kills, except for at the very end.
yeah, don't fuck with mom, dude. She's fucking.
Holy shit! Yeah, Mama Bear.
Mama Bear vibes. If anyone's gonna get the final girl cred here, I think it goes to Billy's mom because Kate did do stuff and she was pretty cool. She did her own uh useful stuff, but I think if you're gonna give final girl cred to anybody, it should be Billy's mom because she was just too badass. To
Yeah,
not
absolutely.
reference that.
Yeah. So out of those numbers, like with the math or whatever, over that movie, I actually don't have how long the movie is. It's like an hour and 40 minutes or something. The average human death was about every 35 minutes and 20 seconds,
Hmm.
and the average gremlin kill was every 40.5 seconds. But obviously, most of those are at the middle and towards the end.
Hmm.
Because pretty much like 100 of them die in that theater.
Yeah.
you know.
Hmm.
And this is all according to Dead Meat again. But that's
Hmm.
pretty much all I really have for the movie itself. It was a good
Okay.
movie, wholesome movie, family movie, we're talking about, inspiring so much art, and just ideas today.
Mm-hmm. I gotta
Um,
say, so that's Gremlins. What have you seen?
that is
What have you been watching recently? Watch anything good?
what have I been watching recently? I finished. I think a couple of weeks ago, I finished the second season of Bad Batch.
Ooh,
I
I know.
think I actually got to double check. There were six. I watched the 16th episode, season 2, and the first season had 16 as well. So I
How?
think that it's the end of the season, but it didn't feel like the end of the season. Does that make sense? It
Yeah.
kind of left us on a cliffhanger. So I was like, "What?"
How did you like it? Because I haven't seen it yet.
I've had a lot of mixed feelings with Bad Batch. The graphics, amazing. You
Yeah.
know, I love the graphics in Bad Batch. I felt like Bad Batch is similar to the same problem with Rebels. It's just a lot of filler and unnecessary storytelling.
Yeah.
And I still felt that throughout 2 as well. And then it finally gets, I don't know, it finally gets good, but it's just still like, I don't know, I get conflicted. I think I told you when I finished the first one, I felt like I would have been okay with them all just dying on Camino.
Yeah.
You know,
Like, there's a lot of filler, I
like, leave
feel.
it as a mystery, and just like, if they're not going to tell us crap, then at least let us hold on to that mystery and that mysticism, and almost, making them, like, giving them martyrdom by letting them die on Camino.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
obviously, spoiler for season 1, they, or technically, like the first episode of season 2, they do survive Camino. They do
Yeah.
survive Camino.
The
You
Bad
know.
Batch are indeed in season 2 of The Bad Batch.
Yes. Yes. Well, we're still talking Star Wars. I only watched like 2 episodes, but I brought it up to you that Star Wars Visions.
Yeah, I
I
saw that.
hadn't seen that before.
I didn't watch it, but I saw that on Disney Plus.
I saw like 2 episodes. It's like anime. It's like Disney stuff.
Hmm.
It's like Disney stories, but they're like original stories. It's like just Disney themed anime episodes.
That's kind
And
of
I think they
cool.
have different artists and stuff. I can't say that with certainty, but I thought it was an interesting, unique little spin-off on Star Wars.
Hmm.
They have had issues with originality and stuff, so I will say, as far as originality goes, I did feel like that was a lot more in it, because I think it's made by, I want to say it's made by fans.
Oh,
Star Wars
really?
Visions. I want to say that. Man, I wish I would have researched it a little harder before I got in on this podcast, but I'm pretty sure it's made by like big name fans
Well,
that
that's
did
really cool.
anime for it.
That's
So
really
that's
cool.
pretty cool. Yeah, I got tons more. Do you got one or two you want to mention?
Well, I did recently uh, finish Wisdom of Crowds by Joe Abercrombie, and that series has gone down now as like my favorite book series ever. And if you want to listen to an audible, it is fantastically narrated. And it ripped my heart out a little bit. Oh my god,
Oh,
the twists and turns that story takes. Oh my god, it oh, I don't want to spoil anything, but it is fantastic. I
what's
loved
it
it.
called?
It's the first Law series. This last book was The Wisdom of Crowds, if you want to listen
Who's
to
the
it.
author?
Joe Abercrombie.
Okay. Well, you heard it here, guys.
Yeah, totally
Yeah. I
recommend.
I watched that Hubie Halloween, which you got it. We put it on the list. We're gonna have to do that one of these days. Maybe we'll do it this Halloween. Who knows?
I would love to do
Um,
that.
it's called Hubie Halloween. It was a goofy ass Adam Sandler movie. Like, I was on Netflix and they have a bunch of Adam Sandler stuff on right now, and it was like, watch the Adam Sandler Jennifer Aniston movie, and I'm like, and then I saw this other Adam Sandler one. And it was Hubie Halloween, and that one actually surprised me. It's obviously, it's got Adam Sandler playing that typical almost retarded person,
Oh yeah.
ridiculous voice. Uh, Freaking, we get Paul Blart, real cop, like the guy that plays Paul Blart. I can't remember his name right now.
Oh,
Freaking
Kevin James.
Kevin Kevin James. Yes, he plays an actual cop, a shitty cop. But Steve Buscemi, freaking dude, Shaq's in it at one point.
Oh man.
Freaking Keenan from Keenan and Kel. There's also another SNL guy, the guy that plays as like Donald Trump Jr. in a lot of those SNL skits. He's in there.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Of course, Rob Schneider.
Always Rob Schneider. It's the only
Yeah,
one.
but
Who else
but
is
it's
gonna
like,
give him work?
yeah, but
At,
it's what?
like he in Adam Sandler's mansion, there's like a smaller little mansion, kind of like a little doghouse for a mansion, and that's where he keeps Rob Schneider and he feeds him.
I haven't heard that rumor. That's funny. You can do it.
Yeah.
Freaking Ben Stiller does a part in that movie, and I swear to God, he does the exact same character as that freaking that hospice worker in Happy Gilmore.
Oh, really?
You know Happy Gilmore? Freaking
It's been a while since I've seen it.
well, pretty much his grandma gets sent and like loses her house, and she ends up going to like a nursing home or something, and Ben Stiller's like running it and freaking asks for a bribe. He doesn't bribe him, and then freaking he just treats his grandma like shit. They're like working like slaves, like sewing stuff for them, and just like a real piece of shit. I don't know, mad vibes on that. I felt like that character literally just got seamlessly transitioned into that with Ben Stiller, but. Probably stop talking about Hubie Halloween. It was better than I thought it was going to be, but it's still a goofy ass, ridiculous, practically retarded Adam Sandler movie. But it's fun. It was a fun movie. It was better than I thought it was going to be. I think I told you I did finish Last of Us.
Oh,
I
really?
finally finished The Last of Us, guys. You happy? We can talk about it. You want to talk about it?
Talk about it a little bit. No spoilers. I think.
Yeah, well, I know you. There's the last two you wanted to talk about it, so I don't know if you wanted to
Oh
what
my
you wanted to
goodness.
say. You
I
wanted
would.
to talk about the ending, if I remember. I don't know.
Yeah, dude. Did you? How was the emotional gut punches there? How were they for you? Were they there? Were they there for you?
They were there, especially at the ending. Trying not to give spoilers. Fucking
Oh yeah.
conflicting. Oh man, I don't know. It's just.
It's almost scene by scene of the game, and
Is
I want.
it like we talked
Yeah.
before? I didn't play the game. I watched some people play it a little bit, but
Yeah, it's all the emotional resonance was there. I still like, and I think this is just because I played the game first. I feel so much more emotional weight coming from the game because I saw it first. But it makes me happy to know that you, being someone who hasn't played it, is still feeling the the emotional charge with that. Because Troy Baker, who does Joel in the game, he just acts the shit out of it, and I love it. He's great. That
I
Pedro
thought Pedro
Pascal,
Pascal. Yeah, I thought he did great.
he did great. He did great. My brother, he seems to think that he plays him a little bit more soft, but I don't know. I still think. I mean, from your perspective, do you think Joel was a pretty hard motherfucker, or
I yeah, he's definitely hard, and there are soft moments, but I mean, trying not to give spoilers. Towards the end, we see that he's still, even after all this like softening, he's still freaking pretty cold, pretty hard.
mm-hmm,
You know?
very realistic in his own way. Very
Yeah,
pragmatic. Doesn't yeah, but
yeah. I got two more that I have written down. Do you have any others that
oh,
you've seen lately?
so I got two more books actually.
Lay them down.
So I so these two, okay, one I didn't finish, and one, and I don't really plan on finishing it to be honest, sadly.
Hmm.
And it was Bloody Rose by Nicholas Eames, and it was the first one was really good. Kings of the
Okay.
Wild, fantastic, hilarious. It's basically a D&D campaign made into a book. It's
Oh shit.
full of comedy. If you guys like the D&D movie, which I also saw, I'll get into that one later, but that one was that first book was amazing. I laughed. I had a lot of fun with it. But this one, Bloody Rose, I feel like so much of it missed the mark with its main character, and I think if the main character was Rose, it would have been drastically improved. But instead, they have the main perspective character be kind of this really dumb character who asks dumb questions constantly, and it just doesn't feel like it has the real. You don't get to see a lot of the life of the characters that are really fun. And I don't think I listened to an Audible, so like the narration for it really I think this woman is talented as a narrator, but I don't think she was suited to a book like this, having these
Mm,
characters in it.
that's fair.
The
I'm
other
sorry to
one,
hear that. Okay,
yeah,
go
it
on.
is a real bummer. But in lighter news, though, there was this
Ooh.
really good. I finally read another book of Terry Pratchett's Discworld. I read Equal Rights, and I think that's a great I think it's a great book for all ages, really, but I think it can really appeal a lot, to, especially like with the humor, really appeals to all ages. But I think it really could appeal a lot toward younger girls because it's about a female protagonist, a female wizard in a world where women are not wizards. They have to be witches, but she wants to be a wizard, and I think it's a really fun, really charming story. I had a lot of fun with it. Granny Weatherwax is fucking awesome in there. I love her.
Ta- Taking down the wizard patriarchy.
Yeah, taking down the wizard patriarchy, and I love Terry Pratchett's humor, especially anytime death comes in. Uh, it's always great. I really liked that story, and I finished that one. And after I kind of went halfway through Bloody Rose, I stopped and I started listening to a new series, The Faithless and the Fall or Faithful and the Fallen, and I think that one's got a lot of clout to it. A lot of people know, or a lot of fantasy readers know that one, and I'm liking it so far. I think with epic fantasy, Joe Abercrombie's kind of ruined a lot of other fantasy for me because I'm just expecting that kind of writing, but I'm still really enjoying this. It took me a little bit more to get into it though.
That's fair.
That's of my
Um,
books right now.
well, that's fair. I watched a couple documentaries, but they're like, I don't know. I watched like the that Waco American
Oh,
Apocalypse, like the new
yeah.
one on Netflix. It was all right. A little less than about the Davidian like occult itself, and
Mhm.
more about like just everything that was going on at the time.
Yeah, I think you mentioned too that the Unabomber was
Yeah,
nearby.
yeah, yeah. They had a little clip that they showed in that documentary, and they said that the Unabomber was there, and obviously not like in the house or anything. He was one of the onlookers, like the public,
Yeah, maybe he
like
had.
gathered outside behind the police line, like way far away from the whole thing.
Oh.
He was there. He's selling like propaganda and whatnot.
Oh,
And
really?
actually, and then that actually ended up making me watch that. I watched. It was like Unabomber in his own words, or something like that, on Netflix as well. And that was just more about the whole timeline of it, which in that the timeline of the Unabomber is actually quite long and
That's really
frightening.
cool. I.
Yeah, it was interesting, but it also kind of it's heavy on the heart.
Mhm.
Watching that stuff, especially back to back, Waco then Unabomber, it was a little much.
Mhm.
But
I.
they were both good documentaries.
Yeah, I'm not as big in the true crime. The most I've seen of the Waco about Waco was Wendigoon's, who's a great YouTuber. I love him. Wendigoon's breakdown of what happened at Waco, and I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, this is like my third thing, like documentary I've watched on Waco, and it was pretty good.
Right on.
It had a lot of like I said, like the Unabomber stuff. They had details in there that I didn't know. you know,
Mhm.
um, so that was kind of interesting. And the last thing I have on the list of stuff I've watched recently, was it last night or 2 nights ago? God, what night? Night of Easter. Um, I watched the intro with my buddy, and I went home and finished it. Jackass Forever. I finally saw that.
That was
Uh,
I saw that in the theaters with a couple buddies and Anita.
you got the full theater experience?
Oh yeah, it was pretty wild. Laughed out loud a lot. Pretty
Yeah,
funny.
I'm sure. I'm sure. God, the part, dude, the bear. I don't know why that bothered me a bunch. Like compared to all the other crazy, ridiculous shit that was going on in that fucking movie. But like them just covering their friend in like bear in like honey and freaking was it like sushi or something? They
Oh,
put something on his lap
and they had the
and
bear come in.
they had the bear come out, and I don't know why. There's just something about that. It was like, have they gone too far? Like,
It's
you
not too
know,
far until they kill one
I
of
think
them.
we exactly. That's just it. It felt like that. It's like, did we hit the ceiling? Like, we're about to watch one of these guys get mauled for our entertainment.
So he won't be returning for the Jackass Forever 2.
Right? Not so forever.
In our hearts, maybe.
Right
Um,
in here.
I, I did see. You got any other movies you wanted to bring up?
No,
Or
that was actually the end of the list. I can't think of any more that I've watched recently off the top of my head, other than just YouTube crap or something.
I watched. I recently watched. I watched two movies of real note to me, and one of them was the Dungeons and Dragons movie, which I'm sure you've seen. A lot of my personality apparently revolves around Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh yeah.
But it was an absolute blast. I loved it. It was so funny. I loved the little moments of heart in there, but it was never too much. It never gets too sappy. It's always maintains the good tone of it being a comedy. And it feels a lot like real campaigns, like a lot of the shenanigans you can get up to with it. And some of the arbitrary rules that you have to follow in for D&D to work and the mechanics, it just was really funny. I loved it. And I also saw A Star Is Born. Uh, I did. It took me a long time to watch that movie. It's been on my
I think
list
I've
for a
heard of
minute.
it. I don't think I've seen it.
It's that movie with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper, both
Definitely haven't seen it.
both extremely attractive people and very talented. Both of them actually, like Bradley Cooper directed the movie, and if you remember him, he does the voice of Rocket, the raccoon in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, nice.
He's also the American Sniper. He's Chris Kyle in American Sniper, and he is Phil in The Hangover.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, he's the handsome one. He's the handsome one of the group. Um,
Yeah, Zach Galifianakis, right?
yeah, him.
At Jesus. No, just
Fat
kidding.
Jesus. No, they're really talented. He learned how to sing for this movie. I guess I didn't know this, but this is like a movie that has been remade. This is the fourth iteration of this movie, all with
Oh,
different actors, all telling pretty much the same story, but this one was really well done, and you feel a lot of the heart in it, and there's points where it makes you tear up. Like there's a point in there where Sam Elliott looks back at the camera in one scene, and I was starting to tear up just watching that. It's so great. And freaking Lady Gaga's a great actress. Like they have someone. I saw a comment on YouTube said this is a great balance of talent where you have an actor who can sing and a singer who can act. And
yeah, and they complement each other. It sounds like.
yeah, they do. It's a really lovely story, really tragic at the end, but I loved it. I was there for it. Really well done. Got 8 Academy Award nominations, but it
Oh shit!
only took home one. But
Only one.
only one, yeah.
Still, one is one. You know, that's great.
hmm Yep, Lady
Sounds
Gaga
like a
got
good
her.
one.
Yeah, she got her Academy Award for it. I think she was the first actress to win for that role in those iterations of movies. So
Wow, definitely gonna have to check it then.
absolutely, absolutely check it out. And if you don't tear up a little bit, I'll be a little disappointed because it really hit me in the feels a lot.
Big feels, dog.
Mm, but
Well, everyone, remember to like, subscribe, definitely hit that notification bell. I haven't been telling you guys to do that. That's how you're gonna know if like when we drop new episodes. Like it'll let you know that we dropped it. So
yeah.
definitely do that. Hit us up in the comments. Let's get a dialogue going. Tell us some stuff about the movie that we didn't know, failed to point out, or just like maybe little references that you noticed that would add to all this. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
Um,
If you're here, you
yeah,
clearly love Gremlins. We love Gremlins. Love to hear your thoughts on it.
absolutely, absolutely. And to all our fans, we'd feed you after midnight.
Yeah. Or at
Oh
least at
yeah,
11:59 maybe. Yeah.
just a little tease.
Tease
Playing dangerous. Little naughty.
Oh,
Good night.
good night. There.
Right here.